This show is brought to you by DF Studios Limited. Whether you're a business owner or entrepreneur, DF Studios will guide and assist you on the best ways to promote your brand digitally, in addition to creating visitor and customer generating content like blogs, social media posts, videos, and even podcasts like this one you're listening to right now. Visit dfstudiosltd.com or hit up info@dfstudiosltd.com for more info. So, all right, now that we've flushed all that shit and bile, down the toilet now, let's get to the best of the best now, right?
Sure.
So, in my case, I will do top 25 because, I did not do, a top 10 stuff, right? So that gives me an excuse to add, extra 5 to my best stuff, right? I'm also going to mention honorable mentions and also going to mention guilty pleasure movies, right?
Sure.
So, before we begin, well, I know, CC, you have like film discoveries, right? But is that going to also include your favorite movie of this year that came out this year?
Yeah, so like last year, I watched always watching hundreds of movies. But like last year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 15 discoveries, and then I've arranged everything chronologically, so it goes from the oldest film I saw this year that I thought was a 10 out of 10, all the way to the 5 that I think are 10 out of 10s that came out this year, including one that I saw that was released last year that I also think is a masterpiece. But yeah, so kind of starting, and like the oldest film I have on this list, which I'm very proud of, 1924, but and kind of work forward from there. But yeah.
All right, no problem. Tracy, what's going to be the structure for your best of list?
Mine is just a straight up best of. How much I have here? Let's say top 13 or something that I actually thoroughly enjoyed for 2022 in escalating order or descending order, something.
Right. And Ricardo, what's going to be your structure?
Right. So I just have basically something along the lines of a stuff I didn't see but would have probably made the list, maybe. Just a quick list of that. Then honorable mentions for movies, and then a top 10 list. A clear top 10 list, like ranked. Actually make an effort to rank it.
Okay. All right. Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share my 25 to 21, and then CC, you could kick off your 20 to 15. I will just keep going in 5s now, so like we'll all share our best stuff once we reach a certain number, right?
But we can start with my honorable mention. I just throw it in one bin, and it's like, oh, this is just a bunch of stuff that we're talking about, and
no problem.
But I just eliminate what I've done, what not in my top 10.
Well, does anyone else have honorable mentions? Because I have one kind of movie I think more people should have seen type. But yeah, does anyone else have honorable mentions?
All right. I do as well.
I didn't.
Okay. Well. All right. Well, let's kick things off with the honorable mention section, right? So, Ricardo, take it away. What were your honorable mentions for the year?
Right. So, that's my first list. Is stuff I didn't see, but I would probably made the list. That's all the stuff I didn't see yet, or should have seen. I should have made the effort, but I couldn't get a chance. Some things just didn't show. So Babylon, didn't see it yet. Not hear any best news, but
no, but I want to see it.
I'm very excited.
I like Damien Chazelle. I like it.
But Damien Chazelle, so like a day for that. No Bears. This is Jafar Panahi's new movie. I was like,
I heard a lot of great things about that. Yes, on RogerEbert.com in particular, it has a 4 to 4 stars. Yeah.
Right, super hyped about it. I want to see it. I didn't see Elvis. Didn't see it.
Okay.
I halfway on it. I reviewed it. But still, it would be good if you see it. I want to hear your thoughts on it when you do see it.
Still haven't seen Barbarian, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Neither me.
Right. Last Days of Ptolemy Gray, you mentioned it in your thing. I didn't see it, but I'm using TV and movies in one thing.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
She Said. Right. I didn't see it. You talked about it, but I didn't see it yet. I should make the effort. I Want to Dance with Somebody. It's showing right there right now. I'd probably go and see it tomorrow, maybe. But it's Whitney Houston. Why not?
Yeah, I want it to be good. That's all I'll say. I want it to be good. Yeah.
Right. And then last, Sharp Stick. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Lena Dunham, but I hear some interesting things about this, so I'll give it a chance. Whatever. Right. So honorable mentions, movies. Right. Just quick. It's a kind of a list, not too long, but we'll just cut through this real quick. Sonic 2. Can add fun.
Still need to see that.
Yeah. But
I forgot about that. Yes.
Right. Violent Night. Pretty awesome. It was. Apollo 10.5. Kind of awesome.
Nice, right?
Yeah. Hustle.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm glad you saw it, Ricardo.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Avatar 2, Way of Water. This pretty good.
All right, that's honorable mention. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Right. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not in my top 10, but I give it a
Sweet.
rewatch. I like it a little more.
I need to rewatch that. I have a feeling like
Yeah.
if I just watch it over one more time, yes, I will really appreciate that
Yeah.
film. Yeah.
I know we kind of bad talking, but surprise, Emancipation makes the list of honorable mentions.
Okay.
Surprise. Black Phone, pretty damn awesome.
Okay.
Glad you saw it.
Yep. Still, pretty good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. This we kind of bad talk, but I still ultimately enjoyed for what you're trying to do and say. Crimes of the Future, right? It's pretty kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kimmy, enjoy that. Not my top 10, but pretty
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Men.
Yes.
Pretty good. I thought
That climax alone, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, we had to talk about this. The Northman boy.
Oh, it's an honorable mention.
Yeah, honorable mention. Yeah. Honk for Jesus. That was pretty fun.
Oh, I need to see that too.
Yeah. Bullet Train.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Very much so.
I enjoyed this. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Not my top 10, but still pretty good.
All right.
It's close. It's there. Jihad Rehab. Really enjoyed this documentary. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as it did. It's actually really stunning for what it was trying to do. The Sea Beast. A lot of fun with this.
I know that was one of your favorites for the year.
Right. Decision to Leave. Pretty awesome. The Menu. I had fun with this. Pretty good. The Fablemans.
Right. Okay, you saw it. Okay. Glad.
Right. Watch it. I really liked it. Not my top 10, but still pretty good. Banshees of Inisherin.
Yes.
This something like this makes it top 10, but this barely scraped it out, mostly because I'm not into horror as much. But Woodland, Dark Day, Bewitch, history of folk horror, pretty damn good.
Love that movie. Yeah. Love that documentary actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, pretty awesome, pretty funny,
Yep.
pretty well done.
Yep.
Yeah. Enola Holmes too. Right. Intergalactic.
All right, Intergalactic. Yeah.
Okay. The Bad Guys. I had a lot of fun with this. It didn't make my top 10.
Yeah.
The Del Toro Pinocchio. Not in my top 10,
yes.
but it's there.
The Pinocchio movie that matters.
Right. So we're getting close. We're getting close to just scraping the edge now of almost making the top 10, but all about the other stuff beat it out. Aftersun. I did not expect to enjoy this as much.
Thank you. I'm glad you watched it.
Very
Aftersun
good.
was great.
Excellent movie.
Told you that.
Yeah. Matilda. Right.
Okay.
Really liked it.
Yes.
Yeah, and then this was really super close, but it almost made the top 10. It's a movie I warm up to. I didn't love it when I first watched it, but when I think about it and I give it a rewatch, I enjoyed it. Turning Red.
Yes.
That is on my list.
Of my favorites.
Yep.
Right, and then last point, and I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. So this is, I can't believe I was skipping stuff so quick for some dumb reason. Glass Onion. That was my last thing. Didn't make the top 10. Pretty good. So yeah, that's my honorable mentions and my stuff that's kind of worth mentioning on my list. That's about it. So
so just to be clear, right? You have a top 10 list, right? That's
right. So now I have a final top 10 list. When we get to that, we'll get to that. But yeah, I have a top 10 list, a very clear list. We'll talk about that.
Right.
No problem. All right.
Yeah.
So honorable mentions for me. Kimmy, really enjoyed that. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Did not think that E24 would have done a mockumentary, but it did, and it was really enjoyable.
Did I mention that in my top 10? I have that. Sorry.
Okay.
Top 10. Sorry, not in my top 10. That's in my honorable mention.
Honorable mentions. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that.
3,000. All right. 3,000 Years of Longing. Yes.
A
surprise film from George Miller.
I did not see this and I forgot about
excellent performance from Idris Elba. This man needs to have more starring roles. Please, Hollywood, give him more starring roles. He was fantastic in this, right?
Yeah.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And yes, it was not as pretentious as you might think it is. But yeah, Nicolas Cage shined in that. He was great. She Said, powerful film. Expect to hear about this come Oscar season. Decision to Leave. Expect to hear about this come Oscar season. All Quiet on the Western Front. Expect to hear this during Oscar season. Till, same thing as well, right?
Nice.
And I'm gonna mention a few guilty pleasure movies, right? Violent Night. Yes, I enjoyed that as well. Is it a movie that I'll be watching every Christmas? Not really. But if I really need for seeing, Santa Claus, kick ass, then yeah, I'll watch that, right? Bullet Train. One of the most fun times I've had in theaters.
Did I mention that?
Yes, you did.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Cool.
Terrifier 2.
Okay,
wow,
right. I didn't see this.
talk
Okay, I
about
forgot about the horror
gory,
stuff. Yeah.
a gleefully gory sequel to this indie horror film. But it's a movie that a lot of people gave a lot of praise to, and when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I totally understand. And last but not least, Mortal Kombat Legends, Snowblind.
Nice. Okay,
Yes,
nice,
yes,
nice,
yes.
nice. Okay, yeah.
Again, keeping with that consistency in terms of just gory, R-rated, and
I thought I
Mortal
thought the big
Kombat
reveal
goodness.
with this was great. Like the reveal that it's Kano's ending to the game. I'm like, oh, that real clever.
Yeah, exactly. It just keeps it going, man. Cece, do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah.
Stuff that did not make it to your list.
So I decided. So this was the first year in a while where I don't know. Maybe whether graduating gave me more time to watch more stuff that was out, or I spent more time in the theater this year. But this was the first year in a while where I actually, because I wanted to keep my overall list top 20 and films I saw this year top 5, it was actually hard. But 2 films that I wanted to include on that top 5 that didn't quite make it were Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi for the win.
Oh,
yeah.
the win.
He is the reason why that movie works, by the way. Just saying.
He went on record saying that he came back. He wanted to do this film after spending all these years dealing with the bullshit that people have been saying about Spider-Man 3 and wanting to prove himself that he could return to this genre and knock our socks off, and he did. It's absolutely fantastic. 9 out of 10, but still pretty good. 10 out of 10, but didn't make my top 5. The Northman. The Northman was absolutely
all right.
Northman boy,
Well,
Northman.
Northman boy, yeah. But I would love to hear your quick thoughts on the Northman.
The Northman's fantastic. The Northman, it's such a shame to me that Robert Eggers is probably not going to get a budget that big in a while, because that was one of the strangest big budget movies I've seen in a while. He continues the trend of his earlier films of he uses history as a way to alienate viewers. And so, and the whole, and there's so many ways to look at it. On some level, I guess you could watch it as just a fun period action story, but there's so much commentary and kind of digging at the material there. There's so much critique going on, is what I feel like. But at the same time, it functions on 2 levels. It functions as a adaptation of a saga, but also a commentary and slightly of a critique of the modes of masculinity that genre is propping up as the ideal form. So it works on several levels. Visually fantastic, cast is fantastic, music is great. The scene with the berserkers getting into their rage has haunted me all year.
Oh boy!
Seeing that in theaters with the round sound and the chanting and it's just fantastic. One of the best. And then my other honorable mention is not a movie I'm saying is a masterpiece, but it's a movie I'm saying does not deserve the hate that it got, and that's Lightyear. I think that Lightyear.
I enjoyed Lightyear. I haven't rewatched it, but I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Well, my argument is that Lightyear is one of the smartest kids movies that's come out this year. I don't think it holds up to adult film, but I don't think it's meant to. I think it's it's not quite. It does. The one critique I have is that it can't quite decide whether it's Interstellar or Flash Gordon. It's kind of caught between the two. But as far as sci-fi for children, it's a lot of fun. And as someone who was a Lightyear fan at the age of 8, this is kind of the movie that if it had come out when I was a kid, this would have been the movie I wouldn't shut up about for years. I would have And when you look at the little documentary that comes with it on Disney Plus, the amount of work that went into it is shocking. These were a bunch of nerds who had this nerdy project and genuine. A lot of the cynicism that people ascribe to it is viewer imposed. It's genuinely not a cynical movie. It was genuinely well crafted. A lot of thought and attention went into it, and as far as especially this, aside from, there were a couple kids movies that came out this year that actually felt intelligent and actually felt like they were kind of I always respect a kids movie that pitches to kids and maybe it'll go over their heads a little bit, but I feel like not acting like they're idiots who need to have something flashed on the screen every few minutes is something I think we should be celebrating. And so Lightyear occupies that spot of it's not a bad film. It's not fantastic. As far as the films for kids that came out this year, it's one of the smartest, is what I would say, and one of the best written. I think the twist about Zurg is genuinely intelligent, and there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of stuff there that I think it's good to kind of get kids thinking about, especially as far as responsibility and how far you go to solve something you think is your problem. there's a lot going for Lightyear, and I think the amount of dislike to indifference to people trying to outright write it off as a bad or cynical movie is unwarranted. It's completely unwarranted, undeserved, and I do think, like, even the person here who put it on their list, Tracy, it wasn't this movie is terrible. It's I wanted a little more. Yeah, I can do it. Like even the person, even like one of us is like, it's not a bad movie. I haven't met a single person who has seen the film who came away going, that was terrible. It's just kind of pretty good. And I think that as far as stuff for kids go, that's actually, like, I feel like we look at it too much like we're adults. This is a movie for children. And I think if you look at it through that lens, it actually holds up.
All right, nice. So let's jump into best movies of 2022, right? So I'm gonna do 25, right? So we're just gonna do it 5 by 5, right? Well, in my case, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. So in 2 ways, right? One, I'm gonna jump to 25 to 21, and then 20 to 16. CC, you will jump in with your 20 to 16, right? Also, another cheat I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna incorporate 2 films that I did not see last year because they weren't released theatrically or on VOD, and I had to wait till early into this year to see them. But they're gonna be number 25 and number 24 respectively, right? So number 25. Woodland's Darker Days Bewitched, A History of Folk Horror. Like, the moment I heard that title, the moment I saw what it was about, I was like, I need to see this. But I had to wait until it came out on Shudder, and then I reached out to Ricardo and Summer, horror aficionado, and yeah, we absolutely enjoyed this, man. CC, if you can, please watch this. This goes so hard and so in depth into the history of folk horror, why we're fascinated by it, why British film studios put movies out like that in the 70s or whatnot. Why Robert Eggers, channels that subgenre into his work as well, right? And I'll just close with this though. That film and the box set that it belongs in, which is All the Haunts Be Ours, a compendium of folk horror, is one of my dream buys when it comes to home media. I need to get this on Blu-ray because not only does it come with the Woodlands Dark documentary, but it also comes with other films, from different regions of the world. Well, mostly in Europe, right? That fit within that folk horror subgenre, man. I need to have this in my life as soon as, right? Number 24. A movie that would have been number 1 for me in 2021 if I did not see it in 2022. Joel Coen's The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Nice.
Wow.
I only saw that film once, and I was in love with it. I really need to rewatch this movie, boy. I loved everything about it. The cinematography, the black and white, the haunted music. Denzel Washington, who I still think should have won the Academy Awards. Yes, I see you, Will Smith.
Yeah.
Denzel deserved that award because he killed it in that. Frances McDormand, she crushed it, though. Catherine Hunter, if you remember her from Andor, she was great
Right.
as the witches, boy. The witches,
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say, boy. But yeah, this was just top tier filmmaking. I actually compared this to Paul Thomas Anderson, his his Phantom Thread film, right? Where
Right.
it's like that type of film that you watch and it feels like a classic film. But if you were like a up and coming filmmaker and you saw this on VHS or on TCM or whatever, you say, all right, that's the kind of movie that I want to make when I grew up in my career, right? Yeah, this is a classic movie, like an intentional classic movie. I love everything about The Tragic Macbeth. This easily should have won Best Picture. And why wasn't it nominated for Best Picture? I don't know, but whatever, right? Number 23, Fire of Love. This was a
Nice.
documentary I got into pretty late. Absolutely enjoyed this. Just that subject matter was so great. Just the idea of this volcanologist couple who just traveling the world and exploring all these volcanoes, and then, well, ironically dying, in a volcano as well too. And just the archival footage and just the story that it told was just so endearing and insightful and informative as well too. You really will learn a lot from it, right? Number 22. They call it a TV special, but whatever, it's still a movie, and it was on Netflix. Intergalactic. I did not think
Nice.
that an animated film, starring Kid Cudi would actually wow me. And it's funny too because I actually watched this right after suffering through Blonde, right? So yeah, anything after watching Blonde would have been great, right? But yeah, this movie stuck out to me from the animation to. I mean, yes, it is a contemporary, black romantic comedy drama, but still, you don't really see those ever so often, right? And especially in animated form. And yeah, this one just entertained me and just pleased me, right? Number 21, A24 does horror. Bodies, bodies, bodies. I
Nice.
really enjoy this one, right?
I forgot
But
about it.
it's actually more of a comedy, like a black comedy more than anything else, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this totally worked for me. It just poked fun at Gen Zers in the best way possible. And no, it does not reinvent the wheel when it comes to slasher films. But what it does though, in terms of subverting what you expect from that genre though, was on point though. It was so good that even Pete Davidson, right? Even he and all was great in this movie. Of course,
Right.
he's the clown, he's the asshole, but it still works, right? And number 20, well, I mean, we haven't had much great animated films this year, but this one stuck out to me early on. Disney Pixar's Turning Red. I
Nice.
had a blast watching this. This was so incredibly funny. This was so smart and so bold, though, in terms of the subject matter, in terms of touching on purity, like just a girl, just coming into womanhood, right? And yeah, just Pixar coming and saying, yes, that's what the show is going to be about. It works, right? But of course, it's not just about that, right? We get this really great story about just it's gonna tie into a film that will be in my top 10. That's all I'll say. About family and just dealing with generational traditions and stuff like that. How it touches on that was great, right? Of course, you just have likable characters, great animation, and just humor for days, man. So that's my 25 to 20. Well, I should say 25 to 20. So let's go a little further. Number 19, Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Who'd have
Nice.
thought, though? Daniel Radcliffe as Al Yankovic. And it
Yeah.
absolutely worked, though. I love
Yeah.
how it subverts the
That's brilliant.
biopic. They did that so well, though. And it's one of those shows
Mhm.
that it could have easily just been bullshit. But in this case, like, yeah, it's bullshit, but we're having a lot of fun with it. We know I don't mean bullshit in a bad way, but like, yeah, it's
Right.
silly and it's stupid, right? But we know this and we having fun. And just how
Well,
far they went with it though, I was just like, yes, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then when it ends, I was like, yeah, y'all did it. I love this film.
it has the vibe that Weird Al looked around and saw that the Hollywood biopic machine was coming back in vogue and
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to make my biopic movie before you guys, and I'm going to do it in a way that will make it impossible for you to make your own more serious one.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see the interview with Quinta and Oprah? Oprah was interviewing Quinta doing one of her Sunday sessions.
Yes.
And they
Yeah.
had that
And the bit, yeah,
discussion.
because she talk about the bit, yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, that was
That's
great.
cool.
I saw that yesterday, actually, so I didn't have time to include it. It would be an honorable mention, but like I only saw that one yesterday, so I'm still thinking about it. But man, that one is good.
Yeah, it was. Number 18, Steven Spielberg's The Fablemans. Really
Nice.
enjoyed it as well too. You could feel the heart and soul it is as well, because yeah, he is touching on his early career, well, why he loves movies so much and why he got into filmmaking in the first place. But it could have just easily been, this is a Steven Spielberg story, and this is why you should care about me. But no, he also touches on his family and just the having to deal with his parents' divorce and how that could have how that affected him and almost could have put him off on the path towards what we know him for, right? Yeah, this was just so well done though. It's a shame that it was a box office bomb though, but I mean you could feel the heart and spirit into this though, and I know you'll be hearing about this come Oscar season, especially with Michelle Williams' performance. I know that is one in particular that a lot of people will be talking about come Oscar season, right? Number 17, a movie that I pretty much told you guys to check out the moment I saw it. Brahmastra Part 1, Shiva.
Nice.
Yes, in a year where we already had
Yeah.
a Bollywood movie, or especially Tollywood movie that just blew us away and united the world. Here was one that didn't reinvent the wheel in terms of fantasy and action films, but it was still like, all right, this we're gonna set up our own little superhero not multiverse universe of films, and this is the beginning of it. I love how they draw from Indian mythology and whatnot. You have two great leads though, well, a real life couple as well, and they're just so lovable and just so endearing on screen, right? But I just love the ambition though, and again, similar to a next film that we're gonna bring up. Yes, the visual effects too are spectacular. Just how everything is just put together is great, right? Yes, it is over the top. Yes, it is ridiculous, but it's just the kind of escapist fun that a lot of people have been tuning in to India and Bollywood for decades now. And for me, just seeing how far this has gone now, I mean, in terms of seeing here's what we're gonna try to do our equivalent of the MCU. Yeah, I mean, this had me going. I actually watched this on my birthday theatrically. I love that. That's an experience I'll remember for years to come, man. And I can't wait to see part 2 for this, man. And number 16, sticking with superheroes now, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Nice.
This was a movie that literally the second time I watched it, that was when it clicked for me. That was like,
Yep.
okay, now I see what Ryan Coogler and everyone was trying to do. Because at first, I think I was just kind of overwhelmed. I was just like, all right, well, I don't know where it's going to go, so I don't know what to expect and all that kind of stuff. But like knowing what to expect because I saw it already, I just kind of sat down and just kind of saw everything just flow from beginning to end. And yeah, I really, really dug this, man. I know this was a difficult venture for Ryan and his team to do, but I could tell you that everybody came through. Everybody gave the A game to this story, especially Letitia Wright, though. Like, I know she had a lot of emotional heavy lifting to do, but she did her damnedest in this, man. Even Angela Bassett. I know a lot of people thinking that she could get an Oscar nom. I'd be happy if that happens, right? But I'm not keeping my expectations too high with that, right? But again, given the situation with with Chadwick Boseman's unfortunate passing, you could tell that this was a difficult task. So I have to say that they pulled it off very well, man, with this film here, right? So, CC, your top 20 to 16. These would be film discoveries, right? So, take it away.
All right. As I said, going chronologically with oldest to the most recent. Starting off in 1924, so in 2 years, this film will be 100 years old. Dinibalang Part 2, Kriemhild's Revenge, which, okay, this one needs a little explaining. So, Dinibalang, the two-part, these are both German silent films. Historians argue that these are the two earliest fantasy films ever made, and you can see their influence on everything like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, everything else. But what's so brilliant about Part 2, Kriemhild's Revenge, if I'm butchering the German pronunciations, is that the first film sets up our hero Siegfried as a typical high fantasy blessed hero with a powerful magic sword or whatever, right? And then he gets killed at the end of Part 1 in this absolute rug pull, wait a moment, this isn't how the story is supposed to go. So then in Part 2, his grieving widow is married off to the chief of a band of barbarians, and is married off to to the chief of a band of barbarians, and uses that position to get revenge on her own brother and father, who are the ones who killed Siegfried in Part 1. So the whole thing becomes this epic revenge story with armies clashing in this massive battle. The whole climax is this massive siege with never-ending armies. If you have I love following fantasy filmmaking back and tracing its DNA back as far as origin. And this is one of those where you can see so many things you come to know and love. As I said, everything from Game of Thrones to Lord of the Rings, all kind of this is the ground zero for that, and it's so magical to see. Number 19 from 1950. So we're skipping a couple decades here. This is John Ford's Western Rio Grande with John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara.
Right.
Which it's because I actually dug more into John Ford this year. There were a lot of John Ford films that I absolutely fell in love with. But Rio Grande ends up being the best because, yes, while it's an action Western and it's got U.S. cavalry, all that kind of thing, it's also a very melancholic story about a disconnected family reconnecting, because you have John Wayne playing this frontier cavalry commander who is estranged from his wife and son, and then his son wants to join the army, and which is of course awkward because again they've been estranged, and then his ex-wife shows up to try and dissuade him from joining, but now she's reconnecting with him, and so it becomes this almost this meditation on a love and a romance that fell apart and what led it to fall apart, and this family trying to reconnect, all done shot in pretty gorgeous black and white, and very, as I said, the tone is very melancholic and very atmospheric. Of all people, I never thought this sentence would come out of my mouth, but the soundtrack by the Sons of the Pioneers is actually really good. Like, they're one of those like old time kind of folky Western bands, and most of their stuff kind of like most of their stuff's kind of kitsch, but they pick all their saddest songs for this movie, and it's wild. I wasn't expecting to feel things watching this movie, but yeah, Rio Grande, 1950, John Ford. 1961, and this is appropriate given all of the hype and all of the discussion surrounding Blonde. But 1961, Marilyn Monroe's last movie, directed by John Huston. This is The Misfits. This is about This is about a young divorcee who falls in with a gang of contemporary cowboys who round up stray horses to sell to a company for dog meat. It's again very melancholic Western, and a very melancholic neo-Western. The cast is the script is by Arthur Miller. So it's again very melancholic, and there's all kinds of all kinds of like psychological crap going on in here. And then the cast is all flyer. Again, Marilyn Monroe in her last performance, Clark Gable in his last performance, Eli Wallach and Montgomery Clift as well. Like, this is an all Thelma Ritter as well. Like, all-star cast, brilliant. And if you're looking for something that celebrates Monroe and like actually like, this was the closest I think Monroe, like this was one of the few times Monroe was actually allowed to kind of have a dramatic performance, and she really gives us a hint of what would have happened if her life had not been cut as short as it was. And of course, it's John Huston, one of my favorite directors, and so seeing him get to work with this material is absolutely fantastic. Still keeping in the 60s, 1962, The Manchurian Candidate. Directed by John.
Oh, you finally saw it. Nice.
That is a good movie.
Oh, The Manchurian Candidate.
That is great.
Angela Lansbury one.
Yep.
Is that what?
Yeah, classic one. Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, like it's one of those movies that I watched it and I couldn't remember why I hadn't got around to it sooner. Like, everything on every, like, yeah, it's a spy thriller, but it is also one of the most psychologically disturbing, psychosexual, tense, atmospheric thrillers I have ever seen. Like, there are so many genuinely creepy scenes in this movie, and so many uncanny scenes, and then there's genuinely thrilling bits where it becomes a spy film again, and then it's just it's one of those. I also every time we get to the end of the year, I also kind of christen this the top 20 films that I have not shut up about since seeing them, and Manchurian Candidate is still one I could talk about for hours. And then rounding up this first five, also from 1962, Days of Wine and Roses. Nice.
I've been meaning to see that.
Easily the most brutal film I saw this year, and that's like there's quite a few brutal films that I saw this year, but this one is extra brutal because a lot of the other films are like that I enjoyed that are sad. You kind of knew they were going to be sad going in. Right. But this film starts out like a delightful rom-com. You know, boy meets girl. It's all quirky. It's Blake Edwards directing, and Jack Lemmon stars, so it's quirky and there's a lot of humor to it. And then it's something starts to go very quietly wrong, and it very quietly starts to creep into the movie where like it's like someone had a pot of water on a stove and quietly turned the switch on, so it slowly starts. And the characters themselves don't even seem to realize what the problem is until a pretty like bleak sequence where the wife accidentally sets their apartment on fire because she'd been passed out from drinking, and they realize they're alcoholics. And the rest of the movie is this brutal drama as this young couple who have a kid by this point are trying to come to terms with their alcoholism and trying to move and trying to heal and come to some kind of, and it's one of those frustrating films where they keep they'll go 2 steps forward and then take 3 steps backwards, and then they will try, and there's this overarching question of even if they pull together are they going to still be able to be a couple after all this? Like, are they a danger to their child? And this is 1962. This is a 1960 film directed by Blake Edwards, the same man who did the Pink Panther movies.
Yeah.
You sit there with your jaw on the floor. There's some, oh my god, there's a scene where the wife character is drunk and her father's trying to sober her up, where he like puts her in the shower and turns it on the cold side. And the way that whole scene is shot genuinely gives you something of a shudder and a chill. Like, it kind of puts you in her perspective as you get this like unwelcome shock to the system. But it also cuts to the way it cuts with the next sequence is also vicious, and in a way that I don't want to spoil, because like it's one of the best transitions in the whole movie. But yeah, Days of Wine and Roses, from 1962, written and directed by Blake Edwards.
All right. Well, I'm loving what I'm hearing so far, so I'm just gonna run through my 15 to 11 quickly, so you could get into more of those film discoveries, right? And then afterwards, you'll jump into the 10. So Tracy and Ricardo, you could come in at that point, right?
Right.
So number 15, didn't expect to get a prequel, but as I jokingly said on Facebook, we mentioned Predator early on. This is the apology for 2018's The Predator.
Yep.
Prey. Yes, this is my number 15. What a return to form, boy. Like, just understanding. Yes, at the end of the day, it's about this alien trophy hunter coming. But in this case, I love that they frame it where, it's in the 1800s, I believe it is. So yeah, we have like this Native American girl who is going up against him, right? And yeah, again, it's just, hunter and prey, and just going back to the roots of what Predator was about, and not about Twinkies, right? So if you remember the Predator, right? If you know, right? Number 14, easily the funniest movie I have seen this year, and as I said in my review, asked myself while I was watching this, did we really need this movie? And the answer is hell's yes. Jackass Forever. Oh my god, this, like, who would ever thought in 2022, right?
I forget
that we would get a Jackass movie, and it's like still, like, when you think about it, like, do we really need this way? And the answer, like, again, is yes way. Steve-O, everybody on board, new old and new members, everybody just came, they did what they're supposed to do. And I mean, it's Jackass, so you know what to expect from it, right? But what makes this show so special, though, is that it's the last hurrah for the old cast, right? So it's more or less like this, this baton passing ceremony, if you will, from the old to the new generation. I don't even know if the new generation gonna do anything, but again, it's just seeing your favorite people who just love to destroy themselves on screen for our amusement, doing what they do best, man, and even better, clocking 50. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're clocking 50 and they're still putting their bodies on risk. Like, there's a moment involving bees. I don't want to spoil what happens there, but when you see them, like, geez, man, like, you're too old for this, but still, you can't help but watch and you can't help but laugh at it, right? So yes, Jackass Forever for me, one of the funniest things I've seen this year, right? Number 13, this is a new entry into Melissa. Saw it a couple days ago. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. Thoroughly enjoyed this, right?
Nice,
we can make the debate what is better than Knives Out. No, I think that what Ryan Johnson's doing is that, yes, it's a mystery, and the first one is pure mystery, but here is mystery comedy. So yeah, and you get some solid laughs here. You get a stellar cast in this as well, right? And again, it's just Ryan Johnson doing what he does best. And last thing I'll say, Daniel Craig has found his next franchise, because I mean, look at what happened, No Time to Die, right? He's not Bond anymore. So yes, give us more Benoit Blanc, please. Give us more, Ryan. Give us more, right? Number 12, glad, Ricardo and I, we talked about it earlier. I do hope that, Tracy and Cece, I hope that you all check it out too. Matilda, the musical. This was just a delight to see, boy. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't even remember the 96, Matilda film, boy. But yeah, as a musical, it worked though. The lead is fantastic. There's a bright future for her. Emma Thompson was great in this. Lashana Lynch was great in this. The musical numbers were great though. The dance choreography, oh my God, it is amazing. You all need to see this. It's on Netflix. You'll absolutely love it, unless you're not into musicals. And lastly, speaking of music, not so much musicals, I have to give it to Tar, man. Kate Blanchett, boy, for
Nice
the
one.
win. This is one of the best performances I've seen from her ever. This is coming from somebody who loves Kate Blanchett, right? But yeah, she just gives this great performance of a character that you're really not supposed to like, but you kind of understand her why she is the way she is, why she moves the way she moves. Why it's just this complex, multi-layered, character piece, though. I love that, where I love the fact how it just kind of shows her in this gray area. So yeah, you could hate her at the end of the film, or you could love her, or kind of sympathize with her, or whatnot, right? But I just love how the film just kind of frames her exactly in the middle, right? So there's some bad things about her, but there's some good things about her, right? But what I love also too is that how it just explores, the somewhat dark side of the Me Too movement, right? The dark side of cancel culture in particular, right? And it just does it in such this profound and rather provocative way, man. And believe you me, Kate Blanchett is a shoe-in for Best Actress. If she wins, I'll be really happy. But yeah, this is easily one of the year's best films, easily one of Kate Blanchett's best performances, bar none. So, CC, you're 15 to
All right.
11.
15 to 11. So again, moving chronologically, still in the 60s. 1964. Probably my contender for my favorite film from this filmmaker, but Mario Bava's Blood and Black Lace.
Okay.
I have been meaning to see that, and this is coming from somebody who
Oh wow.
I'm not a huge fan, but I really dig Mario Bava's mindset when it comes to films. But I really fuck with that dude. Yeah.
I graduated from my with my master's degree in film studies this year, and what I really came away with was a deeper appreciation for Italian and Indian cinema. That is what like they say all this stuff about the French, but really I fell in love with the Italians.
Yep.
And the way Mario Bava
The pragmatism.
horror, like the way he does it, like, because like on paper, if you looked at just the scripts for a lot of Mario Bava's movies, they're not much to write home about, but the visual flourish you don't need me to tell you that the visual flourish of these movies is genius. It's just like you look at something like Blood and Black Lace, and the reason it edges out most of Mario Bava's other filmography is that the mystery is genuinely compelling. Like, it's hilarious that so many of these Italian like giallo films are essentially Scooby-Doo plots, but
Yep.
the execution is so like terrifying, and especially with Blood and Black Lace, where it's a masked killer, and the brutality of the kills is so vicious that you look at all of the rest of the cast and you know that one of them has to be the killer. But what you're kind of wondering is, which one of you is really a psycho? Like, because
Right.
you see the kills and you see how absolutely animalistic they almost are. And so you look around at all these demure cast members and go, one of you is the killer, and that's terrifying because all of you are playing it very calm and very collected. And then, like, of course, when the killer is revealed, it makes complete sense, which is the mark of a truly great mystery. Number 14, from 1960s, last of the 60s, I promise, 1967, John Sturge's Western Hour of the Gun. This is a more obscure one. It's a follow-up he did because this is another one he did about the gunfight at the OK Corral. He had previously done one that built up to the gunfight of the OK Corral with Kirk Douglas as Doc Holliday and Burt Lancaster as Wyatt Earp. Actually really bad. I really don't like that one, like, at all. But this film, Hour of the Gun, is fascinating because it starts with the trial following the gunfight at the OK Corral. It starts with the gunfight, and it proceeds to go into this revenge story as Wyatt Earp is now trying to track down everyone involved in the gang that killed his brothers, and it becomes this story of revenge. And Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas have been replaced as Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. James Robards plays Doc Holliday, and he's great. I need more James Robards movies. And James Garner, who is one of those actors I either love or hate. Like, he's one of those actors where sometimes I look at him and I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy's great. And then other times I'm like, yeah, I could have named 10 other people who would have done this part better. But he's fantastic as Wyatt Earp, actually. And he gets the kind of driven, like focused, obsessive revenge part of it. There's a great line where like Doc Holliday is, confronting him about how obsessed he's about the revenge. He says, and he's pointing to the warrant that he has for the arrests of Ike Clanton, and he says that's not a warrant, that's a hunting license, which is one of those lines that stuck with me ever since I heard it. Like I'm just sitting it's one of those lines as a writer that you wish you'd come up with, and so you just kind of wonder the most discreet way to steal it.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Hour of the Gun. Number 13, and this is one that I feel like people are talking about more and more because it managed to make its way. I think it made its way onto the Sight and Sound Top 100, but I saw it before the summer rolled around, so I got the jump on everyone. But India Song, Marguerite Duras, my 1975 art film. I described it to someone once as, imagine an elegant melodrama like The Leopard, but if the whole film was shot in the corner, looking at a bunch of weirdos away from all the main characters. Like, it's a weird, disorienting movie where like a lot of action happens off screen. You hear dialogue, but none of the but you hear there's a narrator and there's also internal monologues from the different characters, and they never actually say words on camera. And sometimes the narrator and the internal monologues end up arguing with each other. A lot of stuff happens off screen, which just adds to the weird, disorienting nature of things. It's one of the most singularly bizarre films I have seen in a long time, which is saying a lot given the sheer number of movies I watch a year. But it's just a singular, bizarre, melancholic, well, especially since like the whole thing takes place in a that's where the film gets its title. It takes place in a British embassy in India in kind of the last few years of the British rule in India, and so you kind of see these absolute self-obsessed narcissists as they're dealing with all their petty dramas in relation to this ball. And then, of course, the whole thing takes place in this manor house that is absolutely falling apart, so it feels weirdly gothic, and the tableaus are gorgeous. Just overall, just like phenomenal film overall. But that's number 13, 1975, Marguerite Duras, India Song. 1978 is the next one, my number 12, and I believe that this is actually the directorial debut of this particular filmmaker, but this is written and directed by Paul Schrader, Blue Collar.
I've heard of that.
Nice.
Still haven't seen it yet.
With Harvey Keitel, Richard Pryor, and
Right.
Yaphet Kotto.
Yaphet, right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. Like, absolutely. This is one of those ones that it physically exists, and I urge people to get copies. It's hard to get a hold of on streaming, unless you have friends with Skull and Crossbones flags, let us say. But it's one I made a point of watching when Criterion was doing their look back on doing their Yaphet Kotto collection, and it was a huge treat. It's a huge treat to see Schrader finally make the jump from writer to director, especially since most writers who switch over to directing, their debut is a little rough. But no, he has a very good visual sense. He's great with directing characters. Like, Richard Pryor's performance is funny, but it's not a comic performance, which is, I know that comic actors, especially for first-time directors, can be a little difficult to deal with. Yaphet Kotto is fantastic. The whole plot concerning these three men in the Detroit motor industry who are finding themselves at odds and in conflict with the company and their union, who are just trying to get by. Like, its depiction of poverty, it's very appropriate that it has a brilliant blues soundtrack, including an original track by goddamn Captain Beefheart, and then it has a needle drop. It has a Howling Wolf song on there as well. It's brilliant movie. It's Paul Schrader, so we're not building towards any kind of happy ending, any kind of neat, clean resolution. That last scene in particular is kind of devastating after you've been following the rest of the movie, but gets its point across so brilliantly. Yeah, Blue Collar. And then number 11 on this list is Samuel Fuller's 1980 film, The Big Red One. This is the reconstruction.
Oh, you finally saw that.
Ooh.
Okay.
Nice.
I learned well when I did that like 4-month foreign exchange student stuff at Hartford,
Wow.
at Trinity College at Hartford, Connecticut. One of the filmmakers I had to study was Samuel Fuller, right? So along with 50 Guns and Shock Corridor, I think it's called. I can't remember. But yeah, it was just a few Samuel Fuller films, one of which was The Big Red One. And yeah, I absolutely enjoyed that.
Oof.
Yeah.
Big Red One is so fantastic because it feels like this middle point between kind of more classic war films and contemporary war films. It sits perfectly at the cross section between the two, especially the reconstruction cut. It's a true epic. It's a movie that beautifully balances the personal stories of these young men thrown into war, while also being a film about the larger war and how dehumanizing it is. Again, since Samuel Fuller is another one of those filmmakers who doesn't exactly build towards happy endings, but the last scene in particular with the where the platoon find that like Holocaust, like that concentration camp, and like with the kid and everything, like one of the most haunting World War II films you'll ever see. Like, and not a bad performance in the whole movie. Also, shout out to Lee Marvin. Like, there are very few bad Lee Marvin movies.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker.
Oh yeah, Mark Hamill too. No, absolutely. Yeah. Like the whole cast is honestly firing on all cylinders. Like, again, Lee Marvin, Mark Hamill, Robert Carradine, like so many of these other performers, an intelligent script, and like the fact that some of it is based off Samuel Fuller's own, like that it's based off Samuel Fuller's own time in combat, just kind of like it, especially when you look at some of the stuff that you assume, like some of the stuff that seems more ridiculous, like the bit where they have to deliver a baby and so they don't have gloves, so they just kind of put condoms over their fingers. Like, you look at something and you go, okay, that seems ridiculous, but then you remember this is based off someone's actual memoirs and you go, oh, war's just crazy like that sometimes, huh? But yeah, no. So number 11 on that list, Samuel Fuller's The Big Red One. I actually went ahead and got, because there was a 2-disc special edition with the reconstructed cut called The Reconstruction. With the first disc has the film itself, but the second disc has a lot of bonus materials and a whole short doc about the making of the reconstructed cut. There's also another DVD release, which is just that first disc, and they just leave off the second disc entirely. So I kind of hunted a little bit to make sure I got the version with both discs, because I want to see them. I want to sit down and at some point like watch them talk about reconstructing the film, because it's a seamless reconstruction. I'm at no point while watching it do I find myself noticing, oh, this lower quality scene is the bit that was cut originally, like anything.
Right.
Like it's a flawless reconstruction. But yeah, 1980, Samuel Fuller written and directed, The Big Red One.
All right, so now we are at the tippy top 10, right? So we're going to do 10 to 6 and then 5 to 1.
Right.
Tracy, since you've pretty much been quiet for a while, but I hope you've been taking out notes as some of the recommendations from from CC, some really great films.
I need to actually go and watch. Yes.
You could share your 10 to 6. Ricardo will follow afterwards, and then I will do my 10 to 6, and then CC will do his 10 to 6, right? So Tracy, take it away, your 10 to 6.
All right. At number 10, I'm going with Operation Mincemeat, which is not actually the ingredients for pastel, but it was a war movie, which I didn't even, to be honest with you, I did not realize was a real thing based on real events until I said, so let me go and dig up and find out more about it. And then I realized, oh my God, this was a real thing. Yeah. So Operation Mincemeat, it is a beautiful war story. It has the true story elements of it. There is that love story element kind of vibe there. You have Colin Firth and this actress whose name always escapes me right now. But it was one of those movies that was like tight and something that I could go back and watch again and again. And I very much liked it. So there's that. There's this movie, number 9, that I pretty much was obsessing about, even though it's very bubblegum, but at the same point in time, I very much needed to see it, and I was not disappointed. The School for Good and Evil.
Okay.
Oh, this make it a top 10? Wow.
Listen, I sat down and I was like, I need this movie. I need this movie right now. I need to see this film out in the VHS sketch. So when it finally came out, with that cast, it's very much. I'm thinking Hogwarts Light. It's very bubblegum. It's based off of the novels that came out before, and you can get a little bit of an amalgamation of, like, I feel like book 1 and book 2, but you have. I hope that they push more and they do more in the story, because it lends itself to actually having a series that you can watch. And like I say, it's like Harry Potter, but without any kind of author back dramas or anything like that. You can actually sit down and watch it again and again and again, and it's quite joy. So that's 9. Number 8 would be Kimmy.
Nice.
Kimmy.
All right.
Nice,
Kimmy made it. Here's the thing with movies like Kimmy. I said to myself, oh, Kimmy, but then I was trying to figure out, did Kimmy come out in 2021, or was it 2022? And then I realized it was 2022. And then I realized how long this year has been and how many things have been out in existence. But Kimmy
and you actually reviewed it with us when it came out.
Therein lies the thing. Kimmy was fun. I mean, it is obviously like a modern retelling of Rear Window, in a sense, mixed with some The Net, Sandra Bullock's The Net. So that was joyful for me. Then I have Turning Red.
Nice.
Which and the soundtrack for that, there's a song on the soundtrack with the aunties mixed with the boy band doing they're doing a song. They're doing a kind of a mix, because they're trying to get the panda back, and that for me was like, okay, this is brilliant. And there's also a documentary that came out with it, because Disney loves doing these types of things, and you get to hear some of the stories from the people who actually put it out there, and I was like, this movie is great. So that's 7. And 6 would be Bullet Train. Oh my God.
Okay.
Almost the tank engine. Listen, I would love a prequel. I feel like they could afford to do this. I want a prequel with Tangerine and Lemon. Brian Tyree.
I think we all do. Yeah.
Like Brian Tyree's sensibilities with this was just absolute joy. So that's my 10 to 6, is it? That's my 10 to 6, and then I will give you guys my other 5 in a minute.
Right. Those are some surprising picks there, man.
Oh yes.
I have a couple others there, but they're somewhere in between. So I'll just keep that there as well.
Sure. Ricardo, you're 10 to 6.
Sure. Right. So let me just throw something in the pot for CC. 1966, Daisies.
Yes.
I need to see that. Reason being is because I know it dropped in the Criteria collection this year. I saw already premise. I like this looks interesting. I need to watch that.
It does some brilliant stuff with like in-camera effects. That is why I really like it. That is what stick with me with that movie.
Like,
it's so weird.
Technically, Daisies had been part of the Criterion collection before. It was part of their collective box set of Czech New Wave films. But there's
okay.
But there's so much demand for it on its own that they finally gave it its own release, which is phenomenal because, yes, that movie is fantastic.
All right, cool. My top 10. So number 10, All Quiet on the Western Front. I gave it a super high score, but it didn't really stick with me. But it is very well made, but it didn't stick with me so much. That's why it's so low on the list. But it's great. Like, I gave it a super high score. It deserves that. But because I see this before and I see it's done in other movies better, kind of, right. It didn't super stick with me, but, it is what it is. But yeah, it deserves in my top 10. Number 9, Top Gun Maverick.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like this film. Super predictable, but well made and deserved to get me out in theaters. And that's why it had me, and it kept me in thing. But it didn't, again, got me back in theaters. Tom Cruise, what was his name? Bobby with that tool. come back.
Bobby with that blicky. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bobby with the tool. Yeah, he come back, he make it work. And yeah, you can't go wrong with this. But yeah, really, really fantastic outing for me, especially if you see it. I should have seen it on a bigger screen, that'll probably make a higher rank, right? I don't know. Tie for number 8. 2 movies tie for number 8. The Woman King.
Okay.
And Neptune Frost. So I saw Neptune Frost.
I wanted to see Neptune Frost so bad, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, I saw this. I saw this really early in the year. I thought it was a 2020. I thought it was a 2021 release, but I saw this very early this year. But I saw it have a proper official release this year in the middle of the year. Like, all right, it counts as in this year. All right, cool. So we're putting it there. Neptune Frost, if it had a better budget, I would have loved it more. It look a little too on the cheap end. That's my only thing. But what it does with is weird sci-fi, Afrofuturist, Matrix, not sure, a lot of gender bending, fighting against the system, colonialism. Look, it's Saul Williams. You can't go wrong with that dude, right?
Right.
They really make it work for what it is. And it reminds me of a film from a few years back that I loved called Jesus. Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway.
Way to the Highway, yes.
Right. So that
one of the best titles ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's just this kind of weird, like, third world but virtual reality stuff, like hand-me-down kind of technology using junk to fight back kind of thing. It's weird and cool and really, really trippy and well done. So yeah, and then The Woman King. What's more to say? It was pretty damn awesome. Again, if it had a bigger budget, it might have made higher. That's the only thing that held it back. I didn't get into the big narrative about the slavery stuff because, like, again, almost all of that argumentation felt like bad faith in my humble opinion. But they I felt they could have probably addressed it a little better, but I think they handled it for what it was. But yeah, overall, great performances. They really cater to the audience. I just had a generally good time in theaters. Right, number 7, Prey.
Yes.
I really like this.
I
thought it kicked a lot of ass. I thought it was really good. I just nothing, very little of it was bad for me. I just dug the hell out of it on for it was. And then number 6. Tar. I just thought it was so funny, watching this white woman get cancelled. Like, that was just funny to me. But no, I just thought this was such a fantastic character piece, Jared. Like, it catch me. I didn't know what I was expecting. I went in with one thing, and then it started slowly, like, her life started melt down on all these weird levels, and it started to get weird and psychological at a couple points. Like, you're wondering if this real, like that part with the dog in the abandoned area, like, what's going on here? And then it started as build and snowball in weird ways. And then the ending is so good, Monster Hunter. That's so funny and clever. I thought that was really goddamn clever. But yeah, Tar really stick with me. I really think she might get an Oscar nomination, if not the win for this. Like, seriously. So yeah, that's my 10 to 6.
All right, so my 10 to 6. Number 10, The Banshees of Inisherin.
Nice.
The moment I heard that this was coming out on VOD, I was like, I need to see it. I need to review it. I have a slot in my list for it. And yeah, I absolutely love this though. This was a show that I connected to in more ways than one, especially with me just not liking and not wanting to be complacent. So just seeing all these characters on this island just being complacent, not doing anything related to me. And that's what made, the whole conflict between Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson's characters even more tragic than hilarious, actually, right? But yeah, this show absolutely works. Expect this to win. And I hope that it wins something, maybe on the technical end of things, maybe cinematography, but I would love if it gets nominated at least for best screenplay, right? But yeah, love this film, right? Number 9, as much as I wanted this to be top 5 for me, the more I thought about it, not really, but it's still up there as one of the best things I've seen this year. Aftersun, man, this nice. This drama just hit me. I again, like, I went in not knowing what to expect, boy. It's just this father and daughter on this vacation, right? But what it really touched on, boy, especially in mental illness and just the idea of after this person that you love and you been a part of this person's life for years suddenly dies and you want to know why, and you're just trying to mentally try to figure out what it is, just hit so close to home for me, man. I absolutely relate to this. The direction is strong. I think this is a first time effort, debut feature from Charlotte Wells. Yeah, she has a bright future here, and yeah, I mean, not much more I could say. This was powerful, brought me close to my tears. This was great, right? Number 8, The Woman King. It's so funny that you tied it with something else, but yeah, maybe if I saw Neptune Frost, I would have tied it with The Woman King. But yeah, Woman King was fantastic. It was just a throwback to just this great 90s epicness, epic films,
Yeah.
epic action adventures. Sorry. The cast is superb. Though whether it's Lashana Lynch or I forget the girl who plays Viola Davis's daughter. But yeah, Viola Davis herself though she just commands the screen every time she's there. She's just such a badass. And fun fact, they actually did the choreography. They actually did the fight choreography. Everyone did their thing. Yes, even Viola Davis, she did her own stunts, so to speak.
I think Sam Ryder did a lot of work with this, so she was there doing the choreography, and she was like one of the extras as well.
Yes,
Like
she was.
really
Yes, she
kick-ass
was.
person go on Instagram and watch her. Yeah, she's amazing.
All right, I'll look up her work. Yeah. But yeah, go on, CC.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite bits of trivia was apparently, and this is what I'm always saying about my favorite kind of directors. Apparently, Gina Prince Bythewood, I think is the director.
Love and Basketball Man. Yeah.
Yeah, which is also in the Criteria Collection. Now that gives me another reason to rewatch that movie.
Yeah.
Gina Prince Bythewood was also doing, like, she didn't just tell them, go and do all the bodybuilding stuff, whatever. It's like she did all the bodybuilding and the training with them as well, like with with the rest of the cast, which I respect directors who kind of make it a priority not to ask their cast to do anything they wouldn't do themselves.
Right.
And I feel like there is and like all the cast, you hear them talk about it, they respect the camaraderie that was built when their director is there in the gym with them, practicing all the moves and doing all the weights and everything else. Like, mad respect.
Right. And for me, seeing it theatrically, boy, this is a true crowd pleaser, boy. There's just so much great moments. Like I managed to see it with a huge crowd, so the audience was making noise and laughing and cheering and stuff like that. And yes, even though I rewatched it home, by myself, technically, I was still kind of like mentally cheering and laughing and stuff in my head, right? It's just such a crowd pleaser of a movie, such a great movie, right? Love that film, right? Number 7, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, i.e. the Pinocchio movie that matters. Leave it to Del Toro to come and say, hey, Disney, I didn't know you were dropping all the Pinocchio this year, but it's my Pinocchio. No, sorry, I've shit to deal with, so I'm not gonna wait till next year to drop this, so I gotta drop it right after y'all.
Yeah.
And yeah, the end result is one of the year's best animated features, though I'm rooting for this to win best animated film. Even though, yes, I love Turning Red, boy, but nah, Pinocchio did it for me, boy. The stop motion animation for this is superb, in my opinion. The way how Del Toro was able to take this story and more or less connected to wartime, and I mean, like, if you see stuff like Pan's Labyrinth and The Devil's Backbone, you kind of know what to expect with it. And even though it goes dark, it's not like entirely dark. So yes, families can watch it and whatnot. It just tells this really beautiful story, man. No. I mean, it's Del Toro. He's a guy. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't flinch when it comes to showing you the horrors of life, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's like, no, you could watch it and. Don't worry, man. You're not gonna get kids not gonna get nightmares watching this, right? But yeah, it's fantastic. Love it, right?
Yeah.
And number 6, Avatar: The Way of Water. But yes, the king of sequels returned. And while it's not as complex of a sequel like, say, Terminator 2 or Aliens, it shows why James Cameron is still one of the most influential filmmakers living right now. Just returning to Pandora was just a breath of fresh air. I guess. Well, I don't know. I was gonna make a reference to water, but I can't really think of anything like that. But anyway, and yes, you could talk about how it looks overhyped and blah 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 blah. But no, there's a lot of care. There's a lot of effort put into it. Yes, the story is still standard and basic. You kind of know where it's gonna go, but it's all about the spectacle and the escapism. And yes, you might laugh at the environmental message and find it hokey and whatnot. But no, the guy is really serious about saving the environment. And even if you don't want to think about that stuff, it still works as just pure popcorn entertainment, man. So yeah, Cameron came, shut shit down again. He says we're gonna get Avatar 3 like 2 years from now. I do hope that we get it much sooner, man. Yes, I want to see more of this world of Pandora. So yeah, that's my number 6. So yes, CC, you could be number 10 to 6.
All right. Number 10 to 6, and now we're in the last few decades moving up to today with number 6 being a film that came out last year. but also kind of this year. Its release was weird. But anyway, going back, and this one could almost work in as a double feature with Days of Wine and Roses. But 1982, directed by Alan Parker, Shoot the Moon. With
Okay.
With Albert Finney and Diane Keaton, Karen Allen, Peter Weller. I don't know how so many. I'm not people. I don't know. I'm not a sad person. All right. I don't know why so many sad films made my list this year. But I think of all the films, watching, like, this is definitely one that took my heart, ripped it out of my chest. And I gave it back to me and then ripped it out again, like several times. It's one of the messiest dramas I've seen in a long time. Basic plot is it's a divorce drama. Successful author has been having an affair with a younger woman. Even though he has a wife and 4 daughters. And as they kind of move towards divorce, but of course it doesn't move in that linear, clean fashion. It's just messy and complicated, and affections are all over the place. And the wife starts taking up with a man of her own, which causes all kinds of complications. The daughters are all fleshed out characters with their own thoughts and feelings about this. Even the younger woman the dad is having the affair with, who has a kid of her own. Like, it's one of those things where there's not really an antagonist, although Albert Finney's character is loathsome, like awful human being at times. Like, for the most, like, aside from him, there's not really an antagonist, more like a collection of characters stuck in a just a roundabout awful situation that without any kind of clean resolution. Moving into the 90s, from the UK, 1991's Edward II, directed by Derek Jarman, based off a script. Let me double check my notes here. But yeah, the script based off a Elizabethan play by, I can't remember who the playwright is who wrote it, but like it's like Derek Jarman taking an Elizabethan play and making it one of the gayest films I saw this year, because it's about this king, Edward II, who has a preferred courtier who he is having a relationship with, but meanwhile his queen, played by Tilda Swinton, and several courtiers are conspiring to have this person killed so they can better control the king. It's weird because from that description you think this was like a prestige costume drama, but this is Derek Jarman. This is one of the British new wavers. This is the man who made Blue and Caravaggio. Nothing about this is conventional. The costumes and set design are bizarre. The needle drops are even stranger. The romance is aching, the romance is achingly genuine. So whenever anything comes along to threaten that, you generally feel compelled, and you feel like your heart is being wrenched. The way that Derek Jarman takes a play from the Elizabethan era and ties it into then contemporary and even still contemporary issues with gay rights in the UK is wild. It kind of blows a hole in the idea that adapting older material is a good escape from having to talk about contemporary issues, because Derek Jarman is out here making it look easy. But no, Edward II from 1991. Sorry. Then from 1995, a film from one of my longtime favorite filmmakers, Oliver Stone's Nixon. As I said, from 1995, starring.
All right.
It is Oliver Stone's 3-hour biopic of one of the most derided, hated presidents in the history of the U.S. And here's the thing.
Nice. Yep.
You do not. This is post Natural Born Killers Oliver Stone. You know,
right.
So he is he's always been a brilliant writer, but after Natural Born Killers in particular, he's really, I would say starting with JFK, he really starts experimenting with visual style and really starts experimenting with color and the cinematography and editing in particular. So, and then we get to Nixon, which is a fascinating film because given Oliver Stone's politics as one of the more outspokenly most out on the left people in Hollywood, you'd think that that him doing a biopic of Nixon would be pretty much a one note joke, right? And you're like, oh, 3 hours.
Right.
But somehow Oliver Stone is able to both criticize Richard Nixon and completely just like, yeah, this was one of the worst presidents in the American history, but still find a way for you to sympathize. Like you don't want to excuse the man's actions, and you definitely look at him as something of a clown or like a Richard III type character. But there's a sympathy there. There's a nugget of pathos to what is happening, and there are some genuinely heartbreaking scenes where you realize you've almost come to care for this guy. And then again, he'll swing around and do something absolutely horrible, and you'll be like, then again. Anthony Hopkins as Nixon is kind of proof to me that you don't need actors who look like the people they're playing necessarily, as long as their performance is great, because Anthony Hopkins does not look like Nixon. Like, they do a little bit with his nose and eyebrows, but they don't do much. But he does such a great job of selling you on his being Nixon that you stop noticing. He does such a great job of selling the character of Richard Nixon that you really genuinely forget that he doesn't look very much like Richard Nixon. So, but yeah, no, the absolute balancing act of genuine pathos with this criticism, with understanding him as a person, but then also understanding he was a terrible president. Yeah. I don't understand how Oliver Stone is able to spin so many plates at once, but this was one of those films that I was thinking about for the whole, again, another one I was thinking about and geeking out about for the rest of the year, and just would not shut up about because it's such a oddly beautiful movie. And one of the more interesting biopics. Like, it takes a rare filmmaker to make a biopic about someone that they actively dislike or would disagree with. And so being able to pull that off in the sense of Nixon is really great. Next, from 1999, this is another one that I feel like people have been talking about a lot more lately, and I kind of, late to the party. But Beau Travail, Claire Denis, 99. Yeah. I don't rewatch films often. I generally watch a film, I wait a few months or so before I'll give it a watch or show it, and I'll always use it within the pretext of showing it to someone. I watched Beau Travail. 24 hours later, I watched it again because I couldn't get it out of my head after watching it. Like, I was obsessed with it after watching it, and I kind of wanted to watch it again after that because there's just so much about it that is achingly beautiful, but then also heartbreaking, but mostly, like, there's so much beauty in that movie in such an odd way that it is really difficult to articulate. And I feel like I'd seen Claire Denis' film 35 Shots of Rum, I think it was, last year, also really good, but there's something about the way she's able to balance personal, like deep set personal drama with physical beauty, but like kind of this aching, longing physical beauty that makes it absolutely special. Also, the soundtrack is bonkers. Like, you have excerpts, you have like then contemporary dance music. You have excerpts from the Billy Budd opera, hinting that this is an adaptation of the Billy Budd short story. There's like some of the most beautiful sequences are, weirdly enough, watching these soldiers of the French Foreign Legions do drills. And at first, like, these are some of those hypnotic scenes in the film, and I'm sitting there going, what is... And then I did research and discovered that those sequences had been done by a dance choreographer who was creating kind of this impression of what, kind of this almost balletics impression of what like army drills would look like. And suddenly it kind of answers this breathtaking sense of physical beauty and the spectacle of the human body. And this is, and of course, Claire Denis. This is how you talk when you try to talk about a Claire Denis film. You start saying things like the spectacle of the human body. But no, I can't get this film out of my head, especially that last sequence. But even then, the whole film has this weird, quiet, hypnotic quality to it that I found absolutely beautiful. And then moving from beautiful to absolutely hideous in the best way possible. This is my number 6 from last year. Phil Tippett's masterpiece, Mad God.
Sure, of course.
That
So-
is a movie that
Lovely.
I've been trying to
Good.
find time to see, but
Nice.
wow, that made it to your list. Wow.
Yep.
That-
Great pick.
Interesting.
Yeah,
oh
very
my
good.
God. Like, I think describing something as being nightmarish is almost a cliche at this point. Like, we describe so many things as nightmarish, but when I tell you that the experience of watching Mad God and watching spectacles of stop motion horror and terror and this kind of like, again, without just trying to minimize like, it's one of those movies where if you try to minimize your use of the word nightmare, you do find yourself being unable to describe it, because it's this, even saying post-apocalyptic doesn't do it justice, because there's this, it feels like it's not after the apocalypse, because it feels like you're watching an apocalypse take place. It feels like you're watching the end, and and it goes weird. Like there's cosmic horror, there's personal horror, body horror, oh so much body horror. It's a spectacle of carnage and nightmare and Dante's Inferno by way of David Cronenberg, and all done in stop motion with this absolutely breathtaking attention to detail, except for these live action bits that don't make it seem any less strange and alien. Like Phil Tippett does live actors in stop motion, like it's the Peter Gabriel video for Sledgehammer, and it somehow makes the whole thing feel even more unnerving and upsetting. Like,
Right.
Everything, like you can't take your eyes off it. It's the kind of movie that if there are people out there who like tried watching it and couldn't, I get it. I absolutely understand not being able to make it through this film, and then like it gets to the last 20 minutes and it suddenly becomes this cosmically breathtakingly beautiful film. Then, like, especially after you've just spent like an hour through muck and literal shit and the end times and demons and mutants and just casual death and destruction and just apocalyptic dystopian nightmare. And then the last 20 minutes are like a sequence out of Fantasia, this cosmically beautiful, breathtaking sequence of like life and creation. So and all this done with no dialogue. All of this done purely through visuals. All the storytelling done purely through visuals and aesthetics and attention to detail. This is kind of the reason I've been a fan of Phil Tippett for a while, kind of casually, but watching this, I've been absolutely fascinated, because he's now one of those filmmakers where I feel like I know less about him having watched his magnum opus. Like I want to understand him more, and I feel like I'm just stuck in this position of like I've seen Mad God, and I have more questions than answers about what goes on in this man's mind. But yeah, that's the last of my films that didn't come out this year that made it on my top 20 list. Mad God from last year. I'm speechless, absolutely speechless.
I can imagine.
CC, I'm going to be harassing you a little later at some point in time for an explicit list of things that I need to get my hands on.
All right, or you could read the description, so because I'm going to be listing out these titles, and in the YouTube part, or the YouTube version of this review.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I kind of have to do that, right? I don't usually do it, but I have to do it, right?
Literally,
So,
if you at any point I'm always willing to give out recommendations. I also, if you have Letterboxd, first of all, if you don't have Letterboxd, get Letterboxd. But if you have Letterboxd, follow me on there. I make lists all the time, and I'm trying to watch a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good. Very good.
right. And now, the 5 of the 5, the top 5, right? So, I will save mine for last, if y'all don't mind. But,
Sure.
Ricardo, being seen that you are my critic and partner in crime,
Right.
deliver your 5.
No problem. All right, so let me just throw something in the pot for CC.
Right.
1979, Being There.
I need to see that too. Yes.
I love that movie. The ending is fucking great. Like, I just love the ending because it reminds you of someone. When you go see it, you'll know who that someone is.
I have been meaning to see that one for so long.
I'm a lot of
Same
fun with
here.
it. It's so weird. It is so weird to watch his character like just fall ass backwards, but you'll see Howard White. And the ending is great. I just love the ending. Well, anyway, number 5, The Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on. Batman kicked ass. I mean, I thought it didn't go far enough with what it could have done. I felt it. Look, I have my own critiques of it, but all I'll say is that if it didn't like sequel bait a little bit, like it felt like it sequel baited a little bit, like, oh well, that kid from we call him from the Eternals, he's gonna play doll maker Joker now, and maybe we're gonna get some other extra stuff, and you're gonna be grounded. And like, nah, I felt if he stopped being Batman at the end, that would have been great. Like it was such a like anti-Batman movie, right? Like Batman's kind of dumb in this, right? But that made sense. Like right. I just really enjoyed what it was doing with this, and it just everything just comes together so well. It is gorgeous. It looks great. Everybody works well. What's your name as Catwoman? Oh gosh.
Oh yeah. So Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz, right? Yeah, Kimmy. Yeah.
Kimmy.
Yeah. Well, Doja Catwoman, right? Yeah, she was real good at this, and everything has come together so well. And it's a kick-ass Batman movie one time, but like it made perfect sense of Batman being kind of dumb in this. Like him not just simple shit like not knowing the Spanish is just funny to me. Like wow. But it works. It works as a really good like conceit and critique of Batman, but also a solid Batman film on its own right. Yeah, Matt Reeves nailed it. This was excellent for me. Yeah. Number 4. RRR.
Yep.
Yes.
Come on. This thing is so much ass. Come on. I mean, Indian propaganda a little bit, right? A little hit dot for propaganda a little bit. But you can ignore it for now, right? I mean, we propped up Top Gun too, right? So whatever. We can ignore that for now. But like in terms of just filmmaking, it's a fantastic spectacle. Everything the time flies. Like it's a long movie, it's over 3 hours.
Right.
And the time flies. It is fantastic. Really, really well done. Number 3. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yes.
My boy Short Round come back.
God.
My boy Short Round come back. Papa bless. Michelle Yeoh is excellent at this. Great take on the multiverse and how to do it. That everything just comes together so well. A lot of great humor references. Who was the daughter? What was the actress name again?
Stephanie Hsu or something like
She's
that.
great.
Stephanie Hsu, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's great. Everything comes together. Great sci-fi, very funny, smart. Probably one of my favorite movie watching experiences for the year.
Just and the soundtrack is amazing as well.
Everything. I mean, it just comes together so well. So where's my number 1 and 2? Ironically, it's not a movie. It's this one. Okay, so to borrow from the Snoop Dogg clip, right? That boy don't miss. That motherfucker don't miss.
Right.
I have to go back to this dude. This dude just keeps impressing me. So here's the thing. He's a guy that just like he's so just in depth material wise, and he did 3 videos this year, right? But so the man's name is Dan Olsen.
I know.
Videos online. Last year he did something. Sorry, last year, 2 years ago, he did a bigger thing on the flat earth and that old psychology. And that was like one of my favorite videos, and I think that make my top 10 list as well. This year he did like a video called "Why It's Rude to Suck at World of Warcraft," and it gets in depth of the anthropology of virtual systems, and it's just this fantastic like long video essay on the matter. Then he does another video on writers. Like if you're an upcoming writer, just be watch out for this particular type of scam artist, and they get into this weird culture of scam artistry. The video is called Contrapreneurs, and it's these dudes who just don't really give you anything, but also just rip you off. And it gets into this really weird, like he blows open this lid of like scam artistry and skullduggery involving in the writing industry and authorship. And then the number 1 video, his number 1 video and my number 2 for the year, Line Goes Up, the prop with NFTs. Oh my God. This dude just puts the nail on the coffin on Crypto Dread. Like how incredibly toxic and insidious the whole culture is, but he gets into the history of it and why it's a mess. And look, I don't pretend that I am above the fray, right? But all 10 years ago, I used to fall for the bullshit. I really thought, crypto going to do something. And it's calling out these weird Wall Street assholes and we're going to tear down, man. Nope, fucking bullshit. And this man just nails the whole conceit and makes it work. It is probably, and a long tour is like a long 2 hours, some odd video, like 2 hours and 18 minutes on YouTube. But it is so good. Fantastic video essay. Makes him number 2 of the year. Really well done.
It's kind of a magic trick because he takes something so deliberately convoluted, like NFTs,
Yeah.
crypto, and he makes it make sense. Like he
Yeah.
lays it out. It's almost like watching a surgeon at work
Yeah.
because he carefully dissects and tears apart and like lays it all out and says, look, here is why not only is this a scam, but it was always a scam.
Yeah.
And people involved know it's a scam.
Yeah.
Like it kind of becomes foreshadowing for the whole FTX thing that's going on right now.
Right.
Like,
And yeah, why it works as well is it because you have all of this like great like the composition of the scenes and shots itself actually really well done. Like he's colored with the outfit, and the background has this like, well, it's making fun of NFT monkey things, and in the background in we call it in spray paint now. And like, oh well, all of this really well come together, and it is
like it's a genuinely
brilliant
documentary.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a great, like, not just a video essay, it's a straight up documentary. Like, and look, the stuff on the Flat Earth stuff was brilliant, right? But this really top himself, right? This man, I said, that boy don't miss. Yeah, the man really come hard with this trend. So what's my number one? Well, as I said, I had what do you call it? The folk horror documentary, right?
Right.
Brilliant. You know, people loved it. I thought that was really good. But because folk horror does stick with me, I didn't get into it as much, but it's pretty good, right? If you're into horror, you'll probably put this on the top of your list. What if someone made a sci-fi version of this? Well, someone did.
Oh.
In Search of Tomorrow, right? This
I don't think I know that one.
A fantastic long form documentary on 80s sci-fi, and it gets the whole history of a ton of 80s sci-fi stuff. How brilliant it is, absolutely intelligent, how to put it, and it just absolutely just my childhood just comes together, and this is so goddamn well done as a documentary, Dread. I loved it, and it's you know it in the same way as the DS9 documentary that they did a couple of years back. Like, it's that same. Wow, they really like nailed the history of this and what, you know, why I loved it, the fan base, the knowledge, and it's long, just as long as the other documentary. But this one just gets into 80s sci-fi and nails it. And you know why it is I love sci-fi so much? They did it. They nailed it. And it makes me number one for the year because it really gets to me and really does a fantastic job with this material. Right? So the number one of the year, In Search of Tomorrow, a brilliant science fiction documentary, well, homage to science fiction documentary. Really well done, comes together so well. Totally worth my time. I just sit down. I could probably go and watch that tonight again, you know, and spend some 6 odd hours watching this nonsense. Like, it really works. I really dug the hell out of it. Right, so that's just me. My number one, In Search of Tomorrow.
Well, now, yeah, I'm real excited, boy. Now I really want to see that, boy. Yeah, boy. Jeez, yeah, I'm real excited. Tracy, you're 5-1.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my 5-1, but I'm also going to give you my 0.5 because these would
you have
not.
A 0.5. I
have a point. When I say a 0.5, well, I should probably make that up a little bit more. Let's call it a 5.5. It's somewhere between 5 and 6, but I'm just going to very quickly rattle off what those are and then get into my 5. Enola Holmes 2, which I will continue to watch over and over again. The French Dispatch, which came out in 2021, but because of the pancetta and everything, I didn't get to see it, so I waited for it to come out.
Did I rank that last year, Matthew? I think I did, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, right. That was pretty good, though. Yeah.
That was I loved it, but I didn't get to see it at all. Like, not in the cinema. I literally didn't go to the cinema yet last year, so I waited for it and that kind of stuff. And then in the 5.5, just to wrap it off, Wanda and the Multiverse of Madness. That was not a Doctor Strange movie, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching Wanda, and I will tell everybody, Mommy did nothing wrong. So that is wrapped up. The 5 are as follows: Glass Onion.
Okay.
Because
nice.
I have the soundtrack for Glass Onion, and the actual theme of the Glass Onion, it does something to me. It takes me back to like that 90s, early 2000s vibe. It actually gives me a feeling of, strangely enough, The Tourist, Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp, but without.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Right.
I had that soundtrack somewhere, and then God knows where the actual file is. But anyhow, Glass Onion. The Batman is also on my list. I tell you, here's a fun, quick thing. While I was watching it, so I have my geek brother likes to consider himself to be Bruce, so he's forever training and always training to be Batman and stuff like that. So one thing I did for him was that I got him a new notebook so that he can sit down and journal every day and be like, November 14th, this is the day darkness takes over.
That's funny.
So I said, you know what, you need that. So the Batman is number 4, Glass Onion is 5, Batman is number 4. I'm going, so my top 3, strangely enough, I didn't plot it that way, but it's strangely enough not very non-Caucasian, I guess, in a real sense. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And I maintain that Con La Brisa, one of the tracks, Con La Brisa, that's the track where Namor is showing Shuri the city.
Yeah. And it's easily one of the most haunting songs out of that soundtrack, like hands
So I know that they're pushing Lift Me Up as best as an Oscar contender, as they should, but I genuinely believe that Con La Brisa should be up there. I sat down, I watched it twice in the cinemas. I was trying to do for a third time, but that couldn't happen. I have to wait now for it to come out on Disney Plus. It is so fulfilling. It is enjoyable. I have all the music. It's kind of when you're walking down the street and you hear the sirens playing in that soundtrack, where the warriors are doing their. It has a vibe to it, and it has your shoulders literally kind of have to straighten up. So yeah. So there's that. And then number 2 and number 1. Number 2. So my friend Renee was telling me, Tracy, you need to see this movie. And I'm like, I live in Bollywood. I grew up watching Bollywood movies. We all grew up watching Bollywood movies. I haven't actually sat down and watched an action Bollywood movie in a while. I'm sure it's good. Leave me alone. But he kept bothering me to go and watch it. And I maintain, I'm sure it's good. Leave me alone. But then I sat down and I watched RRR. That is...
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, it's I love the almost... this is not I don't know if this is a real word, forgive me everybody, but this kind of dietical sensibility that comes out towards the end of it, where Ram and Beam, and they're fighting in that jungle, they're against, the imperialists, and I'm like, yes, I need more of this, more of those flaming arrows going through these people. I need that. So that's my number 2. And number 1 is a movie that I try to stay in my lane on social media and just watch stuff, and I will repost and make jokes and stuff like that, but I stay in my lane. But when this movie started coming out, and I realized, one, it was getting a limited release, and then I saw IMAX was bringing it, but for some reason it was only going into Europe, I kind of petitioned everybody. I sent an email to A24. I sent messages to all sorts of different people to try and see if I can get it on the big screen, and that didn't happen. But when I did sit down to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Nice.
The thing is, for me, this is now. I'm glad that I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once after I saw the other multiverse movie, Wanda and the Multiverse of Madness, because if I had seen that first, my feelings for that Doctor Strange-esque movie might have been wildly different. Like I might have just been pelted and been ridiculous. I saw Multiverse of Madness and I was like, I like this. This is fun. Wanda did nothing wrong. But then I saw a multiversal movie through Everything Everywhere All at Once with this family at the center and the issues that are surrounding it and how they brought it out. I mean, the idea of a universe where you have hot dog hands, hot dog fingers. This is not something that I would think about. A universe where you evolve into just rocks, and it's just absolutely brilliant. The opera fight song, "Hold Your Bagel," but in an opera styling, it's just freaking amazing. The whole "I Love You" sequence where you have the singers just singing it for like 40-something seconds to 1 minute of "I love you, I love you."
That plays at the end of the end credits. Yeah.
Wow. So I have that, and it did weird things to my soul. And I will say this. When I heard, okay, so the Daniels, Swiss Army knife, Swiss Army man, the Daniels come out and are doing this. Fun fact, I did not piece together that it was the Daniels who did Turn Down for What until Everything Everywhere All at Once came out, and then I realized,
Right.
okay. When because I was getting all the news, I was following all the news, I was hearing about, the fight coordination is from a small group of friends who learned a stunt choreography while online, and just came up with their own little business, and someone was doing editing, and it was like a small group of people. When you contrast that with, as much as I love them, Disney and Marvel Studios who keep churning out, and it still sometimes leaves people asking, well, what the hell is this? Could this not be better? And the small group did this amazing ass thing. It was just brilliant. So that became my number one. Everybody who acted in it was brilliant. I have no problems. I see no flaws. Sunlux's soundtrack for it was great. That is legitimately my number one for 2022. And I might just, before the year done, just pack up some popcorn again and sit down and, cue it up again.
Yeah.
All right, CC, your 5, 2, 1.
All right, my top 5. This is the top 5 films that I saw this year in theaters that came out this year. All right, yeah, I did see, actually, well, 2 of these I did see on streaming, but yes, top 5 full-length feature films this year. Number 5, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think we have, not only do we have the best multiverse movie ever, no question, the best multiverse movie ever made, but it feels like we finally have we have the anti-Evangelion, right? We finally have the if you're thinking about movies that stare into the cosmos and come away with this dark, nihilistic nonsense, finally we have a movie that stares back into the cosmos and comes back with a sense of aggressive hope and optimism somehow. Like you have to get through the muck to get there, but there's a genuine, beautiful sense of optimism and joy. And the film itself is just bonkers. Like, I love how, like, the Daniels, I was watching one of them in an interview, I think it was Quan, talking about how their style of comedy is to just build on absurdity, and like just when the audience thinks they can't get any crazier, to just go crazier every single time. And you'd think that would get exhausting, but instead it's energizing. Like, watching this in a theater, you saw people like, as the film went on, you see people bouncing up in their seats, you see people getting more and more excited, you see this genuine, like, this infectious sense of joy. And of course there's also so much, like, I'm not normally a fan of shock comedy, but there are so many great moments in this that I laughed myself silly, and I can't even intellectualize why. For some reason, the scene when the one henchman uses the trophy thing as a butt plug and like jumps onto it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Killed me. Like, I had tears streaming down my eyes and everything. And then it like flipped. Like, there's just so much you could talk about, so much you could dissect. I kind of love how each of the universes feels a little like, the main ones anyway, feels kind of like a different movie. Like, there's like the one where she becomes an opera singer feels like the Wong Kar-wai film. The one where everything is normal feels like the regular A24 movie, and the other one feels like the big Hollywood action film, like that kind of thing. And the film moves between them all with this delightful meta quality without doing a whole bunch of lamp shading, which is really nice. But no, a joyous cinematic experience. Number 4 is Nope. Jordan Peele.
Okay.
Nice.
Jordan Peele has not made a movie I've disliked. Every film of his for me has been a 10 out of 10, which I know is an unpopular opinion, but it's my opinion. I kind of love this magic trick he does where he sets up a twist. He sets things up in a way that you expect. If you're a genre savvy film goer, you think you know where it's going. And then he pulls out where it's really going. And you find yourself realizing that it makes complete sense, And if you hadn't been expecting the other thing, you might have started picking up on the clues sooner. Which is
that's like me when I saw it. I really again I need to rewatch this. I feel if I rewatch it, I'll love it more.
It's fantastic, and like it's also the kind of it's one of those movies that feels a lot of ways tailor made for me. I had several friends who saw it before me, and all of them were like, "Oh, you need to see this." Like I'm like, okay, yeah, Jordan Peele made a movie just for me. The soundtrack is phenomenal. The characters are hysterical. There are so many characters that I didn't expect to be as big a deal as they were that turned out to be like major players. That was delightful. It's terrifying. It is terrifying. There are some scary sequences in this movie that absolutely like I'm still thinking about and I'm still terrified by. I remember I was listening to Hideo Kojima interviewing Jordan Peele, and he said one of the things the thing he said that really struck me is he said, "You've done for the open sky what Steven Spielberg did for the water with Jaws." And
Right.
able to stop thinking about it. But no, yeah, Nope. My number 4 of the year. Number 3, and this is the film that unseated The Northman, because originally The Northman was going to be on this list. But then this film came along and warmed my heart, and that's Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
So all I mean is of course you saw this, right? Of course, right?
It's funny because my family and I have decided to. I was on my parents' Netflix, but they decided to cancel it because Netflix has been increasingly more money for less content, and then they're starting to do things like, and they're starting to threaten to like withhold password sharing and stuff like that. But but since we ended up canceling it accidentally only a few days before this dropped, I actually went out of my way to find other means just so that I could like watch it, which I normally don't do. But then again, Del Toro has never made a movie I didn't like. And I'm just in awe that he takes a simple fairy tale. And like the original novel is quite bonkers. I feel like we all know the Disney film, but the original novel is bonkers. And yet like the Disney film, the original novel and most of the adaptations aren't about anything. Like maybe they're morality tales about like, I mean, rewatching the original Disney film, I was kind of struck how morally simplistic it is. Like, be a good boy and you'll be a real boy. But you watch Del Toro's Pinocchio, and not only is it the most complex Pinocchio movie that's ever been made, but it's about things, right? Like it's about life and death and what gives life, what gives life its meaning. I mean, and like whether is that what makes us real, and like the idea, and like it kind of touches on ideas that eternal life isn't that much fun if you don't have anyone to share it with. Fascism, the rise of fascism, and how obeying orders isn't courage. Sometimes it takes more courage to disobey orders. Like exploitation, grief. There's just so much that this film is about. Like you could sit there and unpack it. It's kind of a Rorschach test where every person's going to come away with a different major theme than other people, right? And it's gorgeous to look at. It is one of the, outside of Leica, it is one of the most detailed, well-constructed stop-motion animated films, and I'm including it on the list with Mad God, because I feel like Pinocchio and Mad God have a lot in common as far as like the richness of the detail and how much attention to detail there is in the stop motion, and why they both ended up being really long films to make. The fact that it's a musical is weirdly charming, even though the songs come out of nowhere, but they're so likable. The main character of Pinocchio is great. Ron Perlman as the Italian fascist, as the fascist Italian guy is. There's so many moments of like darkly humorous moments, like this wooden puppet comes back to life, and he's like, we an immortal soldier. He'll be good for it. Good Italian. And it's like, this is a literal child made of wood, and you're worrying how he's going to impact the war effort. But no, Del Toro's Pinocchio, number 3. Number 2 is a film that I feel like it just hits so many sweet spots for my personal enjoyment, and it's from a director I do love. Um, and it's so I always loved filmmakers who make Hollywood a lot of money and then take that money and make their own weird little art film project afterwards. And that's George Miller's 3,000 Years of Longing, a film
Oh,
about
nice! You saw
love,
it.
Nice.
Nice. Somebody saw it,
Lovely,
folks.
lovely.
love, storytelling. Well, it's a film about storytelling in the most beautiful, transcendent way possible. It's a story about life. It's a story about love. It's a story about what keeps us telling stories and driving us forward and how interconnected storytelling is. And storytelling as an act of love, which is one of the most beautiful things about it, especially as someone who's been telling stories my whole life. Like, when it's revealed that the main character is a narratologist, I felt an absolute. I realized this was a movie for me because narratology is actually one of my academic areas of speciality, and like my advisor in grad school was one of the top narratologists on the planet in film studies and even just in general. So, well, and anestheticists. So this film felt tailor-made for me in so many ways, and it is just beautiful, like just phenomenal. And George, I was talking to a colleague about how George Miller has very much entered his Akira Kurosawa phase, right? Where his older films are great, but the kind of films he's making at this later stage in his life are not only the kind of films he couldn't make as a young man, but the world feels like a better place for them to exist, and it was so like phenomenal to see this in theaters. I mean, I completely get why some people came out of it like, "What was that?" I was like, "Listen, if you are confused by a George Miller movie, the only George Miller's movies you've been watching are Mad Max films." Like, I feel like in between Mad Max films, he all
Right.
range films, and we love him for it. That's called being a George Miller fan. But finally, getting to the number 1 film that I saw this year. It is rare that a film comes along that breathes life into a genre that I was starting to feel tired on. It's rare that I see a film from a country that I can't get enough people to watch and care about get this much attention. It's rare to see a filmmaker with tastes similar to my own do so much in the world. And it is rare to see the wheel genuinely being reinvented on screen in a particular genre. But somehow, in the year of our Lord 2022, a filmmaker from India named S.S. Rajamouli came along and brought us Rise, Roar, Revolt.
Yes.
My
Yes.
God.
Yes.
I like, because I live in the States and there's not a lot of theatrical distribution for Indian films up here, did have to watch this on Netflix. So, but even that experience, had to brace myself against the chair. Like, it's appropriate that I put this right after 3,000 Years of Longing, because not since Mad Max Fury Road have I felt someone reinvent the genre of action. Like, it felt like every set piece was this breathtaking piece of violent ballet. And then, but also an invitation. So he's going, all right, so the next set piece has got to be even bigger. And without going full Michael Bay, where the character gets lost in the spectacle of the action. If anything, he goes even harder on the character stuff, like the songs and the character moments and the melodrama. Like, he goes harder on those elements so that the characters don't get lost in all the action. So it makes the action scenes even more powerful. So it becomes a filmmaker competing with himself within his own film to keep audience attention, and the result is a spectacle that just gets more huge and powerful and sweeping and genuinely awe-inspiring. Like, you watch, like action is one of those genres that lately has started to feel like I've been part of the reason that a lot of my favorite films this year have been dramas and not a lot of action films made it into my top 5 is simply because action is a genre that I feel like is kind of Hollywood's safe go-to genre. And so there's a lot of action films that feel very samey, or even if the action scenes are well done, the character and the drama stuff isn't very well done. Looking at you, Black Widow. But then you end up with something like RRR that literally feels like every single sequence was separately composed and conceived, and like almost like each action set piece is like its own short film with its own beginning, middle, end, climax, rising stakes, character arcs, and everything like that, and still having character moments and musical numbers within those bits, and still making it all fit together as a cohesive whole. And of course, learning that S.S. Rajamouli is a huge nerd and a big Quentin Tarantino fan. In fact, two of his favorite films are two films that he mentioned that he loves and that were direct influences on RRR were Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained. And
That actually makes sense.
I was struck. I was like, oh, the people now Tarantino fans are making movies, and not just the like lazy, let's have a scene where some characters have what is supposed to be quippy dialogue in a diner Tarantino fans. I'm talking people that actually understand him on a level. But then he also mentions how one of the other films that he adores that was a direct influence on this film is Lagan, which is one of my favorite films of all time. Like Lagan,
Same here too.
Mm-hmm.
Lagan is a masterpiece. And so somewhere between Lagan and Inglourious Basterds sits RRR that takes the best aspects from both films and weaves them into this beautiful, violent, melodramatic tapestry that just bleeds pure adrenaline every time. And also, not since seeing the original Italian Inglourious Basterds have I seen a movie that's competing with itself for the body count of oppressors. Like the original Inglourious Basterds almost made it a game how many Nazis it could kill. This film feels
that's true. Like all those explosive moments involves Nazis being blown up.
In the original from the 70s and in Tarantino's film as well. But in RRR, it feels like he's like, all right, how much damage can I inflict on the colonial Brits in 3 hours? Let's see. I would love to know what the body count averages per minute because I feel like it's something ridiculous. Also, load, aim,
shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those
Yes.
satisfying thematic through lines in a movie ever. I thought I was like, what's this? Oh. And then when the way it finally features into the finale, beautiful. I was already something of a S.S. Rajamouli fan. Like I love the Bahubali films, but after this, I have no idea where he's going from here, and I want to see it. So whatever he does next, I'm there day one. Like holy shit. Also, shout out to S.S. Rajamouli for making a film so whatever it is that the whole world is literally the whole world is talking about it. Like, I mean,
yes.
That's one of the things I love about Indian film is one of my passions, and it's so frustrating living in the United States because they never give it any respect. Indian films are ignored. Apparently, when Lagan was submitted to the Oscars insisted they present a cut with all the musical numbers cut out. Indian film gets disrespected on a global scale, and especially in the United States, so thoroughly all the time. And it truly takes a special movie to break through and get everyone's attention. Like, the last time I remember, Lagan got some people's attention. Mani Ratnam's Dil Se was another one that actually had people like Spike Lee talking about and homaging. But I feel genuinely blessed and thankful to live at a time when an Indian film can be so recognized that even critics in the UK and in the US are actually sitting up and taking notice. And I feel like this is a beautiful opportunity to get more people into the wonderful world that is Indian cinema. So yeah, favorite film of the year, RRR, Rise, Roar, Revolt. I need to see this on the big screen as soon as possible. But in the meantime, I will just settle for being able to watch it on my television and just feel as if I'm on a roller coaster that's also making me cry for 3 hours. Like, beautiful.
Yeah, so right, just want to throw in one more list for CC. There's a popular one, Mississippi Masala.
Oh my God, yes.
Now on the Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
I-
And then yeah, I just want to add two honorable mentions that I forget, and I was like, oh yeah, watch this, and I forget I watch it because it really got a thing. I watched it really late. Aisha and the Silent Twins. This is two
oh,
black man. What's she name? Letitia Wright. Two movies she had, and this
Mhm.
so that's worth mentioning.
Well, now you're making me want
Very
to restructure my top 5, right? But I mean I've covered all 5 films here, so I don't need to go too much into detail.
Right.
Number 5, Northman boy. Yeah,
Northman boy, yeah.
Northman. Yeah, two men fight on a volcano boy. Yeah, Northman boy. Yeah. Um, watching this movie again. No, this is a long running joke that Ricardo and I did when we reviewed it, right? But yeah, seeing it again, boy, I just got that visceral thrill that I got seeing it in theaters, right? I was fortunate enough to see it in cinema, right? I admittedly I walked out of it like just so energized, boy. I just had to drink water, boy. I like no other show this year made me feel as if like I was just hearing like the actual heartbeat of a filmmaker. This heartbeat, this filmmaker being Robert Eggers, where you could literally feel that heartbeat just going do with every single shot, with every single scene in this movie, boy. He just took this, this story, right? This beloved story, right, and reworks it now and I love that he brought his folk horror mannerisms into it as well too. That would explain, the weird hallucinatory, scenes and whatnot, right? But it totally works, right? I just love that Robert Eggers in general just say, here's what, Universal gave me money to make a film. All right, well, you need to make it all mainstream and cool so people understand. Robert Eggers was like, nah, fuck this. Like, you've seen my shit before. You've seen the Witch. You've seen the Lighthouse shit. I'm gonna give you that. But it is admittedly a very like straightforward, very conventional, well, by his standards, right?
By
Film,
his
right?
standards, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but though it's how it goes deep into this whole mindset of the glorious death and Valhalla and being a warrior boy. How he dissects that and more or less calls it out on his own bullshit actually works for me, boy. And I also love how it feels like it just combines 70s nihilism in films. So like the 3 films I came in, that came to mind while I was watching this, I was thinking Straw Dogs, I was thinking The Devils, and I was also
Right,
thinking Roman Polanski's Macbeth. Like take
Oh, yeah.
that and
Mm,
somehow
mhm.
mix it with 80s sword and sorcery and like early metal music, dread, and that's not even close to the concoction that this guy conceived with the Northman. It's beautifully shot though. It's it's deliriously dark and just beautifully bleak in my opinion. Everybody shines in this. The music kicks ass. The tone of it is what really gets to me though. And again, just feeling Robert Eggers' heartbeat with each and every single second, man. They
Oh,
make
yeah.
a fight scene on a volcano incredible, Tread, right? That's all I'll say. Number 4, The Batman. Yes, this was a movie that I was excited of the moment I saw the second
Nice.
teaser for the official trailer, if you will, off of DC's fandom, right? Hearing Michael Giacchino's music in this, boy, whew, just that moment right after the end of that car chase scene between Batman and the Penguin, and your Penguin's car flips over, sorry, and you see Batman walk in slow mo with the rain and the fire behind him, and Giacchino's score just builds and builds and builds, is easily like the top moment in film though that always gets my like my blood pumping, and it always gives me goosebumps every time I think about it, right? But yeah, Matt Reeves just came through with an excellent Batman film, Tread. And at first I was telling myself, all right, they're trying to do a lot here because you have Penguin and you have the Riddler and you have Catwoman. I'm not sure how this is gonna work, and somehow it all works though. I love the whole emo Batman vibe that Robert Pattinson brought to the table. Yes, he is an idiot, second year in the game and whatnot, but I just love just that cold, dark, Norrish world of Gotham. It's actually probably the coldest and darkest that we've seen, I would say, since the Gotham TV series, right? But yes, in terms of just his story and execution and acting and everything, it just executed so brilliantly, man. Absolutely love this film. Number 3, the one film that got us back in the theaters. The other time we bought Tom Cruise for this, Top Gun, Maverick.
Bobby
yes,
with that
yes, yes.
Eh.
Yeah, Bobby with that too, boy. Yeah, boy. I would just right off the bat, though, that third act with the planes and whatnot, though, is some of the most exhilarating piece of cinema I have seen
Yep.
all year. Like even if you don't care about Top Gun or you don't care about Tom Cruise, you cannot watch that third act and tell me you're not excited, you're not, entertained by this, right? But despite all that, though, it just kind of takes us back to an era where, yeah, we're gonna give you the goods, man. We're gonna give you great acting, great cinematography, solid writing for the most part. I mean, yes, even though we've seen this story before, it's just pure escapist cinema. Again, like nobody saw, our Top Gun sequel. Okay, Top Gun, all right, and yet it just update the formula in these clever, really smart ways. And it's so emotionally engaging and whatnot. And again, just pure filmmaking, great action, and not much more I can see, man. This in particular had me really excited for this upcoming Mission Impossible movie, boy.
Yeah.
And after Tom Cruise, man, this man continues to push himself to entertain folks like us. Thank you very much, Tom Cruise. Bobby with that too. Thank you. No, thanks to CC. No, I do even think like I was gonna put this as number 1, thanks to what CC said, but no, I'm gonna stick with my list. Number 2, RRR, Rise, Roar, Revolt. Roar. Yes, that's my number 2. Man. Roar, right? It's a short roar. It's a short roar. That roar. That's R.
And then some.
That's kind of dumb. But yeah, man, this show just blew me away, boy. From cinematography to writing to character work to just over the top action, though. My God, and you're right, CC. It just steps everything up in terms of action sequences, boy. That third act, in particular, in the jungle, my God, is one of the best action. I would say the best action sequence I've seen in 2022. My God, I just watched that and like in my mind, like I honestly wish I saw this on big screen, Jed, because I'd have been probably the only person yelling, "Holy shit! Holy shit!" That would have just been me throughout the entirety of that with Ram with the bow and arrow and the flames and Beam with the water. It's just and how they just keep taking out these soldiers.
Yes.
It is so satisfying, boy. My goodness, I love this film, and even more. And before I get to number 1, again, like I said in my review, every decade we always get like one Bollywood film that more or less unites the world, and we say we just praise it and say, yes, this is the greatest thing ever. RRR is that. This is like the best, at the moment in the movie we've gotten for the decade thus far. One of the best action movies ever made. I will say that right off the bat. And yes, we'll be looking back at this movie years from now and saying, yes, this really was a game changer as far as world cinema goes, right? To the point that even Hollywood, action filmmakers probably watch this like, okay, like I need to watch this, man. Like yeah, right, yeah. But my number 1, I've been a fan of E24 for years, right? Mm-hmm. And it always amazes me with nearly every film that E24 puts out, right? I just love how they just continually raise the bar in terms of originality and just weirdness and just stuff to just have you just stop for a minute and be like, yeah, what is this, right? And you're watching like, wow, like, but on paper, like it really shouldn't work. It really shouldn't work. But it's stuff like this though that inspires me, right? To say, you know what? I just want to make something unconventional, right? And here's this production studio or company, whatever it is, that gives these filmmakers the extra push to say, here's what I have, this crazy vision I just want to put out there, help me, and these guys came through, right? But this show in particular, boy, this was for me, right? Because when it comes to E24, it's all about, well, it's for the art house crowd and it's for those people, right? But very rarely do you get like an art house film that kind of makes it, in the mainstream, that even mainstream, connoisseurs of film could just be like, yeah, I love this, right? And no other film did this for me this year than Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Yes, this is my number 1 pick, boy.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Nice.
It is just
Yes.
so incredibly creative and vibrant and imaginative, boy. How they explore the multiverse in these visual ways, boy, just continues to blow my mind. You're like, for you to come into a studio and say, hey, I want to make a film with Michelle Yeoh, Jamie Lee Curtis, and hot dog fingers. And E24 is like, yeah, here's the money. Yeah, do it. Do it, Daniels. Do it, right? I am just amazed that something like this even exists, boy. And despite all the insanity, the visual insanity that you see on screen, right? And at times, yes, it does get indulgent, right? But in a really clever and fun way, right? It doesn't go over indulgent, thank God, right? Um, it has a strong story. It has very complex characters, really complex characters, I must say, but and a very complex plot, I must say as well, right? But it's just the heart and emotion throughout all of this that makes it work. But you care for Michelle Yeoh's character, you care for her family, you care for the fact that okay, the big threat is her daughter, and the way how she feels, and not knowing how to adjust in a world, right? Like with and I just love how the show exposes too with her identity as well, and how it clashes with her family and whatnot. And in this absurdist way, showing that yeah, it could easily make her this big antagonist, somebody who could more or less destroy the world, right? I love how it addresses existential themes, right? How it shows nihilism and kind of shows that yeah, you could be that, we could understand why you'd be that way, but come on, man, you gotta have a little hope in your heart, man. And that's why I love that third act where it's just really Michelle Yeoh's character desperately trying to get her daughter back to. There's a great moment near the end where she almost lets her go. It's like, no, 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 you're my daughter, and I love you, Jen. I'm gonna keep fighting, right? I just love how far it goes with the concept. I would love to actually read the script for this though. Like it would be like it might feel like I'm short to read it by, but I need to sit down and just see how the Daniels just wrote this. I just really need to see it for myself, boy. But I could talk for days about this. But again, it's just the imagination on screen though that I absolutely love. Boy, this is a show that kind of again I using the word revitalize a lot in this, right? But yeah, it just revitalizes me. It invigorates me, right? To just say, yeah, you know me with people talking about, oh, there's no originality in film anymore. Watch this movie, right? This shows that yes, there is still a place for originality in the world of cinema. And if you have a story and you can make us care enough for us to sit down for 2 hours and like what 16 or 19 minutes the runtime of this movie is to see why. Yeah, and last thing I'll say though, shout out to the cast and crew and everybody on board, boy. Getting short round of all people to come through. And yes, I know
Yes.
the
Papa
role was
Bless.
supposed to go to Jackie Chan. Yeah, but Papa Bless do he thing, but the man come and kick ass literally like
Wow.
Jackie Chan, right? Michelle Yeoh
Mhm,
showing
mhm.
why she is one of the best actresses living right now, man.
Jesus.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, like just finding, making her relevant again, right? And it's a shame that she is in the second worst film of the year. That's Halloween Kills, right? Sorry, Halloween Ends, sorry, right? But yeah, man, everybody, you could tell that everybody had a blast making this film, and I just love films like that where you could see just the fun that everybody was having. But again, it's the heart and emotion that makes it work. The just the liveliness of it, the vibrancy, the imagination makes it work. I want to see more films like this in the future, man. And I'm just glad that a studio like A24 exists to say, yes, we're going to give you the backing to make a film like this, right? And I'll close with this. People more or less saying that Michelle Yeoh could get an Oscar nomination for Best Actress.
Hope
If
so.
if that happens, I'll be so happy, boy. But this needs to win something. Even if it's like original screenplay or something, this needs to win something at next year's Oscars, man. But yeah, hands down the best movie of the year. A movie that really remind me why I love cinema so much. Everything, everywhere, all at once. If you haven't seen it,
Whew.
please watch it. And I will warn you for first timers, strap in, boy. You will be
Oh
it's
boy.
a ride. It's a ride. It's a roller coaster. But trust me,
It
is one
is.
that you will never ever forget.
Yeah.
All right, and that is that was sorry our that was sorry our best and worst of list. I hope you guys have enjoyed hearing us ramble and praise films to high heaven. But yeah, 2022 had some great films though. I must say though, like
Oh,
for real, yeah, yeah, and
There's some really good stuff.
there's some.
yeah, and in the case of the film discoveries that CC brought up, yes, we definitely will check out those the stuff on YouTube and the documentaries that you brought up, Ricardo. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check those out. Especially that in search of tomorrow documentary. That sounds fantastic. I need to see that like as soon as right. And yeah, on the subject of that, feel free to let us know via Facebook or sorry via YouTube what were your favorite films, right? What were your favorite and least favorite films, right? It could be a top 5, top 10, top 20, hell, a top 50 if you want to, man. So comment below and let us know. And yeah, once again, CC, thanks again for coming through. It was a blast hearing your list. It was just a blast, having you come through and do another one of these. Well, I guess it's like 3 years in a row now we've been doing this. So yeah, I can't wait, for us to meet next year, by year's end, to do this, right?
These are some of my favorites to record. Yeah, like definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's been 3 or 4 years running. Yeah.
Right. Tracy, again, second time in a row, thanks for coming through to share your best of lists, and here's hoping that we could do this again in 2023.
One, thank you very much for having me, and get ready for me to be completely insufferable for me to talk about the blockbuster movie that will be Barbie coming out next year that will definitely change cinema.
I make that joke, is that we have this thing. Two movies coming out at the same time. One is this.
I am going to be insufferable.
Yeah, one of these things is an apocalyptic, onslaught of unleashed into the world.
The other is Oppenheimer.
And the other is Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I already have my pink outfit that I know that I'm going to wear, and I'm wearing a black jacket over it because I have to see both of them on the same day. I don't know how IMAX is going to be doing that down here, but it has to happen. I'm going to be insufferable. So that's for 2023, God's Real Life. That is going to be, that's one of mine.
Oh, definitely. One of my top anticipated ones for the year as well. I'm ready to cry buckets out of my eyes at Guardians Volume 3 because I know we're all going to get our hearts ripped out. And then the movie that came out of nowhere that I'm now really hyped for, 65, the one written by the guy who Quiet Place?
Right. Yes, please. Yes.
What the hell?
That for me feeds into like all the alien astronaut theories that George talks about and ancient aliens and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I just want to see how serious Adam Driver takes it. That's all I want to see. How serious is he going to take it, right? Yeah, well, for me, just quick stuff to look forward to. That new Mission Impossible movie, the part 1 or whatever it is. Yeah, just seeing that behind the scenes clip of him doing that stunt is like, again, like Tom Cruise is going out of his way to entertain folks like us, man. So I can't wait to see what we get next with that, right? But yeah, of course, Ricardo, again, thanks for coming through. I had a blast just talking films and TV shows with you all year, man. And yeah, man, here's hoping that we get to see more great films in 2023.
Rick and Matthew 100 years, right? Rick and Matthew 100 years.
yeah, for real. And for those listening, and for those who have been rocking with BBB Radio for the past year or so, thank you so much. I really appreciate it as well. It's just great for me, though, especially with my fandom and love for film, to just be able to have a platform where I could just share that fandom, especially with like-minded individuals as well, man. So I just love the fact that I could get to do this and, of course, share it to the world, man. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. So once again, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're listening to this. This was Matthew Bailey and Ricardo Medina and Tracy Hutchings and Cece Lilford. I thank you all so much for coming through, guys. I really appreciate it, right? I thank you so much for listening at home or wherever it is, in your car or whatnot. Before you go to sleep, I don't really know, whatever. Like I say, whenever you listen to this. And yeah, this wraps up the second season of BBB Radio. Here's to season 3. Here's to 2023, the best and brightest. Just looking forward, to greatness in 2023. So the next one, guys, take care. Season's greetings. Happy New Year. Peace.
Thanks.
Rock for revolt.
Yes, right for revolt.